Welcome everyone to the Faded Connections episode number 21. Faded Connections, a Path of Exile community podcast hosted by the wonderful BalorMage and myself. Today we got two guests that we haven't seen on here before, but that you should know if you've been watching Path of Exile, because these two gentlemen have been keeping it real and playing a lot during Blight. Despite some obvious frustrations that we all had with the league, but we're going to go into that extensively during the podcast. And also, of course, yesterday there was the BlizzCon opening ceremony, where we saw not only a cinematic trailer for the Diablo 4 that was highly anticipated, but also some gameplay footage. And we got a little bits and pieces of information from live streams of community members and content creators that were at BlizzCon directly. And of course, in 2 weeks from now, there will be the Exile Con, which is the convention hosted by GGG, where we will get both announcements for 3.9 and the big 4.0 expansion, which is somewhere in the future, next or the year afterwards, the 2020, 2021. Although Chris Wilson went on record on Reddit and said that is going to be released sooner than certain other games.
He said that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, he said it. His exact word was something like 4.0 won't be soon, though it will be sooner than
exactly.
Other game. Yeah. Like, yeah, okay.
He wants to fight them, dude.
He's gonna win.
But also, just one quick thing. It's the first episode that we do this early in the day, so I hope everyone got their coffee. Welcome, good morning to those who are early birds. And now I interrupted the natural flow of the introduction round. It would have just become an introduction round, but I had to make it awkward. I learned from the best.
I would have watched the stream anyway, so it's fine for me.
True.
Well, will you quickly? We start with Ibadda. How are you doing? And will you quickly tell us a little bit about yourself, about your stream, and where you come from, and what do you do?
Sure. I'm gonna try to keep it short. So I'm Ibadda. I started streaming last year, December. I've been playing POE for about, I think, 4 or 5 years, and I'm a hardcore player. And I tend to go flick a strike. I tend to be on GFL for a couple reps. I guess that's where you guys know me from, probably. But yeah, I tend to play on races, and other than that, just have fun with chat and with the game. Yeah, that's about it. I'm from Spain. I've been born in Germany. Went to Netherlands school and lived in Germany. Like, I've been everywhere, and I can speak 4 languages.
So yeah. 4?
Yeah, 4. It's Spanish, German, Netherlands, and English, I guess. Yeah, Spanish is my native language. Gran Canaria, dude. I miss it so much. But yeah, so expensive there.
I feel inadequate. I can barely speak English.
I guess that's why I cannot speak a language perfect, but
Wait, so Ibadda, can you confirm? I've got one question, because one day one of my viewers told me, if there is one German viewer in your chat, you tell them one thing to welcome them is Ich habe eine Großbratwurst. Can you confirm it means? Can you confirm it means like you're welcome, greetings? What does it mean?
It's a very normal greeting in Germany. You say to everyone, "Hey, hallo, ich habe eine Bockwurst." Yeah.
Okay. Nice. All right.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, I'm German myself. I didn't know that one, but I don't go out that much, so that makes sense. The next time I go out in the supermarket, I'll tell the cashier that I have
that's
bratwurst. Somayd, how many languages do you speak, by the way?
I don't know, like 3.
I mean, baguette.
Baguette, yeah, I speak baguette. This is my main language, even though like now I don't really speak French anymore. Like, it's really hard. Like, now the way I speak French is I think in English and then translate back to French. It's very awkward, but I don't go out, so that's good. The only interaction I have is with cashiers and stuff, so that's pretty good. Spanish, French, English, and a little bit of Polish. But I try to like learn like basic sentences from every language.
Oh, Spanish as well. Nice.
Un poquito.
Un poquito, vale.
That's nice. And then POE wise, you've been having a lot of fun with Blade. I heard like everyone talk about your Blade Vortex guide. It's very popular, and you've been blasting off with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been ever since like Blade Vortex came out. I've always played Blade Vortex. Like everything that has Blade in it. I'm a massive neckbeard, so I studied the Blade. Even to this day in POE. So like whenever Blade Flurry came out, I played it. Blade Vortex came out, I played it. 50 blades, 20 blades, 10 blades, it doesn't matter. It's a blade, I play it. And yeah, so there's like a pretty cool interaction with like this new unique, the Call Brotherhood and Assassin. Some people say that I play just Hero Device builds, which is partly true. And yeah, like the latest build is just like
that's how I know you actually. The chain reaction from the Herald of Ice. Do you remember?
There was a bunch of GFLs.
That's how I actually like went to your to your channel, checked you out. That one time.
The BV is not squishy at all. You just need to play better, dude. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop reading chat. I'm gonna start like fighting and all this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, perfect. I didn't think you needed an introduction, but you nailed it. So that's good. So for those people who missed that content, they know you now as well. And Balor, you've been streaming a lot of Lost Ark recently?
I mean, only the last 3 days, so like 30 hours. But it's really good. I played a few hundred hours on the Korean launch. And now it got launched again in Russian, which I also don't speak, but that's fine. It's fantastic. It's the only thing I'll probably be doing from now until ExileCon. Because as much as I liked the league, and I really did, I finished it. I'm done. Like there's nothing left to do now. Now I just need to play other games. So we've been doing a lot of that.
How deep did you end up delving? Because I remember you rolling a delving character last.
1001.
Not bad.
Yeah. That the build as it is now could probably get down to 1600 without a gear change. It's just a grind at that point. Like there's nothing. It's doing about 3.5 times the amount of damage as the highest DPS Nebulok jug that exists, and it's about 10% tankier than a normal Nebulok jug. So it'll keep going fine. But I didn't want to spend all of that time doing it.
Yeah, that's what that's a topic that comes up pretty often. Like, how deep can this build go? It's not really about the build most of the time. It's more about like, are you going to go through like the rotations or buying scarabs or like all the missions? It becomes like a grind at some point, and I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it feels like it's not really worth it. Almost.
I've watched Wisp stream yesterday, and he started in hardcore because he wants to delve, and he said he really disapproves of the delve meta in softcore. I think that's basically ties into the problem what you just said. It comes down to who's the more dedicated player, who puts in more hours to do the sulfite rotas and to throw his character at the delve depths to get deeper. And all those characters are basically glass cannons with very little survivability and a lot of avoidance. I mean, not little survivability because you get all the avoidance, evasion stuff, but you don't really have any mitigation for the case that you actually get hit. You don't have any EHP pool, so you just force yourself deeper down. And some people enjoy that, and it's like a discipline in itself. But I also like the being forced to make it tanky and to do delve deathless. That's a completely different meta. But I think what we want to do before we go into the Blight discussion is we quickly address the elephant in the room, which is the Diablo 4 announcement at BlizzCon yesterday, the opening ceremony. We've seen, like I said before, we've seen a gameplay trailer and we've seen a cinematic. The cinematic is, as usually, awesome. The gameplay,
awesome.
They're really good at cinematics.
I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, it was really good. Like, oh man, I don't want to spoil
whatever they're
it.
doing with their cinematics. Like, I want to watch that movie.
Yeah,
if you could give me a
too.
3-hour movie, please.
Yeah.
The
I
World
think
of
we can all
Warcraft
agree.
one.
Like, Lilith cured my mommy issues. Honestly,
Oh man,
like
yeah,
Lilith
yeah,
is just
yeah.
I would get some of that demon greatness.
They nailed the
I'm gonna-
resurrection, dude. Holy shit.
I'm going to go ahead and say, like, right off the bat, even though it's a little bit late, if you feel like you're going to get spoiled for the D4 announcement, too bad. You should have watched it by now. You obviously don't care, so don't complain. We're definitely spoiling it. Like, this is the only warning you've got. That's it.
What about the super hardcore fans that didn't want to watch anything until it comes out?
Oh. Cut out there.
Yeah.
Oh, it did cut out?
Yeah.
I just said, what about the super hardcore fans who didn't want to get spoiled until it releases?
F in the chat, boys, for those.
Well,
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah, what is your first reaction like about like on a scale from 5 to 10?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say it as well as I can because I never played Diablo. I know. I never played Diablo, but in terms of hype and in terms of the gameplay, what I saw, it's amazing. Lilith gave me goosebumps until the end of the world. Like, holy shit, that was so nice. So it's really nice. As someone that never played Diablo, I had a really good feeling about the game. So that's important, I guess, because the feeling makes you buy or start playing the game. So yeah, that's really nice. Nice sellout.
Somayd?
For me, it's like, so I never played like any Blizzard game like growing up, so I never was really disappointed in Blizzard compared to a bunch of POE players. Like, I feel like there's a lot of resentment towards Blizzard just because they're ruining their games. So like, I like playing D3, like maybe a week every season, and I was excited. Like, also, like, I missed it. I missed the live show because I fell asleep. So when I woke up, I like just jumped on my phone, started watching the thing, and it was really amazing. Like, cinematic as always with Blizzard product are insane. So that really got me going. Then the gameplay trailer was slightly disappointing because there's not much to it. The UI looked like absolute dog, but it's just a very, very early development, right? But then there's a talk, like there was like the devs that were talking about the game, and they said like a few things. So open world, raid-oriented, trade, and PvP. And like those 4 things, like really was like, yes, that's what I wanted. It's kind of going to be like a Lost Ark, I guess, even though I haven't played yet, but from what I understand. So something more open, like more MMO-ish, but without really being an MMO. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to like what they're gonna come up with. If the gameplay is gonna be good. So I think there's more questions than answers at this point. But I'm very excited. I'm very much looking forward to like building up the hype and see what happens. But yeah.
But you were very excited before, right? We talked a little bit yesterday, and you were really excited going into the announcement. After the announcement, you feel more hyped or less hyped?
I mean, that's mostly for PoE. It's kind of like I love PoE so much, but I feel like it's been so long since we didn't have like a solid like ARPG or competitor. And like I believe that I wouldn't mind playing like 2 or 3 different ARPGs like at the same time, right? Like if the seasons are not like synced, I think that would be great for like PoE players to have like other games to play. They're great games, and you can keep playing. So I'm excited. Just like any big release ARPG, I would be super excited. And Diablo, of course, is like the biggest name in the game. So yeah, I'm really excited for it.
True. Then no off seasons. If we have that, no off seasons there, we always have something to play. Yeah,
exactly.
Would be nice. Yeah.
Like
something I saw in the trailer, for me, it wasn't. I didn't get the feeling that Diablo is gonna be open world, because I got the feeling it's just one straight line. You follow the acts and then you're done. But that's the feeling I got. I don't know. I never played the game, so I don't know exactly the gameplay. But that's what I felt when I saw the trailer, like the gameplay trailer.
That's kind of how it is.
Watching some of the streams play. I watched a few of them doing the demo, and it was only a small demo, obviously, but it definitely didn't feel like a linear system. Like, it didn't look like it would be just a straight line from one place to another. It very much looked like he went into a town. There were different ways you could go. There was no restriction on what order to do anything in, or what direction to go into, or even whether he had to pick up the quest or not. There was a quest that would send him somewhere, but he could just go the other way. And so that looked good, but I don't know. I don't know how to be really excited about something that's that far away.
Yeah.
So there's two big issues for me. One, this doesn't seem like they've been planning it for very long. This seems like they shat themselves last year and then rushed out something we could see by the following one, because if they didn't, they felt like they might be crucified. And I'm not sure that that's enough, because it does look very, very, very alpha. It looks a lot earlier than they have ever shown us a working game before. And that feels like a forced reaction to the backlash they got last year, rather than them being excited about a new game, which I don't love, but hey, it's coming, so that's still a net positive. But it also feels like it just isn't going to be an ARPG the way we expect. It's going to be more along the lines of Lost Ark than POE, which is to say that the combat will still be ARPG-styled combat, but it legitimately just looks like an MMO, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm just saying it doesn't look like it's actually going to be competition for PoE. It's going to be competition for Lost Ark when it comes to the West. That's the market that it's going to be in. Where I kind of think that's a smart move on their part, because it means they get to do things like group play, dungeons, raids, trading, the things that they've hit all of the PoE's biggest weak points and doubled down on those rather than trying to outdo PoE, which feels
is a smart choice, because
like a very smart play.
Yeah, do you think anyone could outdo PoE at this point?
Yes.
With a game that just released, with continuous effort over several years, but could you develop a game and release it now and be competition to PoE in the long run, in terms of replayability, in terms of...
Beat it, maybe no, but compete, yes. It's just not the most profitable way to go about things. So Blizzard probably won't be the company to do it. Because it's not going to be the most profitable. To compete with PoE, you have to be a company that is designing your game because of a passion and love, not for profit. So we are not going to see a competitor to PoE come from somebody like Blizzard. It's just not going to happen.
I kind of feel like we're like tunnel visioning a little bit, because like we make it seem like PoE is like the biggest fucking the Titan game, right? It's like the massive game that everyone needs to take out. But the big truth here, I guess, is like any game that Diablo is gonna release is gonna be infinitely bigger than PoE. Like PoE in terms of like player base is like, it's pretty small compared to like most big games that come out, right? So like, I guess they're trying to make their own niche.
That's exactly what I'm like. That's exactly from that point. It's not the biggest. We are not the biggest market audience.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking for something.
The direct, gritty ARPG genre that we love isn't a big market audience. We're very passionate about it, but we're not the biggest market audience. There are more people playing card games than there are playing ARPGs. We are a niche group.
I mean, let's be honest.
That's why I'm saying things like, I don't think a real competitive game to PoE, which is the giant in this small niche genre, right? PoE is pretty much uncontested at this point in our small niche. But somebody like Blizzard doesn't want to get involved in a pie this small anymore. They just don't. They're marketing to a different people.
Yeah.
They're marketing to far more people.
I'm looking in chat and I see there are more people playing auto chess. It's because auto chess. It's easy to get into, right? You just start up the game. You don't need to prep to get to some point to get to end game, and that's with Path of Exile. With Path of Exile, I feel like people come back after 2 or 3 leagues. It becomes their main game. I have a 2 or 3 guys in my chat. They're like, they came this league, they played it, they liked it, they left, and they came the next league, and now they're like, they are really spamming POE after 2 or 3 leagues. You just need to get into POE. That's why I think POE has a really good future. That's what I think. It just needs people to start playing it. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Just starting playing the game.
Wait, you're saying that the game is not easily accessible to everyone, and that's why it has a big future?
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude.
Because it requires commitment?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit, dude.
It caters to a very special audience, that's what I'm thinking. And let me quickly finish that thought.
About competition.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I hope that D4 is successful in what it's attempting to do, namely get all the audience that like wants the MMO parts and wants the group play and wants that sort of experience, and that makes GGG reevaluate their relationship with the player base and reconsider their approach and cater more to the hardcore core audience. I'm not saying GGG completely alienated itself, but they've been casting a wider net for a long time now, like probably around 3.0, maybe a little bit earlier already, and been grabbing that audience that didn't get what they wanted out of the Diablo series because there was no content for Diablo 3 coming anymore. But if D4 is successful in what it's trying to do, I hope that PoE is going to double down on its original approach and going to bring, that stuff that the really hardcore invested audience wants.
Yeah.
And do you think it's possible to keep this hardcore, going back to those hardcore roots while still making the game more accessible in terms of learning curve? Or do you think it's an integral part of the experience? You struggle through and through? Or do you think it's possible to make a much easier to learn experience and that scales really hard if you want to reach the highest point? Or do you think
there's still a long way to go in easy and accessibility, and I don't think you have to take that away or pedal that back at all to swing back into a sort of more hardcore, more difficult game. And I wouldn't want them to flick a switch and go back 3 years, right? That's not.
Oh yeah, please no.
Just if we could, just swing slightly back more in the direction of less casual would be great. But that doesn't mean you have to make things more difficult to understand. There's still tons of ways to ease up and introduce people at the beginning and give people I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Basic understanding, I guess, of mechanics and things that are going on. That doesn't have to go away, and that could still be improved a lot while still making endgame stuff a lot harder. That would be fine. But as far as actual competition goes, I'm thinking Last Epoch will be actual competition. It's not there yet because it's still in beta, but they're exactly the kind of studio that I think has the right attitude and the right amount of passion to stay in this smaller marketplace and not be chasing the millions and millions more dollars you could be doing another genre. They have the right kind of passion and thought and love for the genre.
But that's exactly what I think. They don't have to be afraid against Diablo 4 because Diablo 4 is just a different game from PoE. PoE has become this thing, this unique game. You don't get the same feeling elsewhere. You don't. That's what I have. Since I've played PoE, I see other games differently as well. I don't know. Maybe it's weird to say, but
that's completely right. You hold other games to way higher standards after having played PoE.
Yeah.
Even PoE itself, you hold to very high standards. I've never been so critical of the games that I play since I started playing the PoE.
I have never been this critical about another game in my life as I am about PoE.
Your fault.
Do you think it's related to streaming too, or just purely
I guess
playing it too much?
Nah.
Both.
Maybe. But I feel like even if I wasn't streaming, I would still have... you know what? No. If I wasn't streaming, I would still have strong opinions. I just wouldn't have a place to vocalize them on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We
Right?
have the chance.
Yeah.
like I've always been opinionated. That hasn't changed. Now I have a platform to spread my nonsense to other people. That's all.
Feels good, man. Feels good, man.
Yeah, I've been really critical too of this league. It's like, yeah, it's not really just about the league. It's more like the core game. Now it's like I'm such a neckbeard now that it's not even about the game. Like in the present moment, it's more like about like the broad approach of like grinding gear games towards the game and towards us. So I'm like, I transcended the just like critique of the current league. It's like the whole thing now, going back in time and in the future and generations. It doesn't make any sense anymore. I need to chill a little bit.
I think the only reason that people get so, or that at least for me, the only reason I get so critical and at times so negative is because I've never loved a game this much for this long.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen. Like I've been obsessed with other games before for like 1 to 6 months, and then I'm done with it. This one's been like 5 or 6 years, and I'm still excited all of the time. I'm still excited every time there's a new league. I'm still into everything. I still go to sleep thinking about builds half of the time. Like, it's clearly like a passion, right? Like, I can't stop. And because that keeps happening, it gets a lot more critique because I'm thinking about it a lot more. But what I'm saying is it all comes from a place of love.
Yeah, of course. It's because you expect more and you want it to be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in conclusion, you don't think that spot in your heart is going to be taken by Diablo 4 in any way?
No. I expect worst case scenario, and the worst case scenario is exactly what I expect out of Blizzard, just to make that clear, is that when it launches, I will get between 3 and 8 weeks worth of entertainment out of it, and then I'll be done.
It's the same effect as Apex, dude. Everyone is going to spam Apex and then just let it there,
Like I think at the bare minimum, everybody who likes ARPGs can expect to get 3 to 8 weeks worth of entertainment out of it. And even if the box price is like $80, that is still worth it. So I will buy it and I will play it and it will be fun. And then I'll come back because I just don't think Blizzard has the heart anymore to make something that can hook me long term.
Wait, I forgot it. So Diablo, it's not free to play. You have to pay. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
most likely going
to be
be
fair,
a full price game.
They haven't announced, but also, like, I feel pretty confident it'll be buy to play. They're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a full price game with MTX options.
For mounts, yeah, because there's mounts in this game.
Yeah, we've seen one thing in the trailer, right?
Yeah, we saw a few mounts as well as one of the coolest things that I don't know how many people it slipped by, but when they demounted in the trailer, they didn't demount and then attack. They came off the mount attacking.
The deep slam
and
of
it
the
looked
horse.
really smooth.
Oh yeah,
like I can promise that the combat is going to feel fantastic.
Like there's people I follow on Twitter who've been they've been playing the game at BlizzCon and they're saying like so far like the gameplay is really amazing. It feels really impactful and smooth, and this is still very, very early stage of development. So I think we can expect this from Blizzard.
Those are the kind of things Blizzard excels at. Like,
yep.
Like I'll shit on Diablo 3 all day, but if it's your first time playing it and it's new content to you, and so you're not bored like we are because we've played it and that's all it has to offer and it doesn't give you anything new, it feels like a far superior game. Like, it is really smooth. It is really nice. The combat feels impactful. Everything looks nice. Everything works the way you intend it. You don't get stuck on tiny little rocks. Nothing. I don't remember ever rubber banding. Like, combat-wise, everything is very smooth and nice. They nail that all of the time, and I expect them to nail it again. Like, they've got that down pat.
But you think they're just going to apply like recipes that are known to work, and they're not going to go and experiment with game mechanics, with character building mechanics?
They might on the creation of the game. I don't think there'll be anything wrong with it when it launches. And I think if you play it on launch day, or if you play it a year later, you'll have the same experience. And that's the problem. Whereas in a year, PoE will do 4 different league starts and have 4 different content patch updates. They won't.
Yeah, and crazy complex system, because that's what I'm worried about with D4, and why I think it may not actually give me anything at all except for a pretty experience, is because I really think the game, the ARPG meta needs to be, like the game development meta needs to be stepped up in the same way that PoE was there to implement all those new systems, to go with one passive tree for all classes, to go with socketable nodes, basically, like these jewels that actually items that you can put in the passive tree, like, and all these groundbreaking ideas that PoE came up with that were basically just never seen before in this sort of game. And I was hoping that Blizzard would at least give us some things that are groundbreaking, new systems, technologies, something. But so far we haven't seen anything. Yeah, it might, absolutely. But my confidence in that has been shaken.
I would be incredibly happy to be wrong on all accounts. Just like, I've got a low opinion of Blizzard now, and maybe that's just me, and maybe I'm jaded from last year when they pissed me off. I don't know, but I've not felt good about them for a while. But I would be very happy to be proved wrong.
Hey, come on, he said sorry.
If the game ends up launching, if the game ends up launching, and it is absolutely fantastic, I will be ecstatically happy. Like, yeah. I'm more than happy to be wrong about it. I just don't think I will be.
There's one big thing that worries me about yesterday's BlizzCon and all this is so they're really taking this MMO approach and dungeons and raids and all this. But as far as I know, crafting is going to be very, very limited. Now, to me, in any game, even PoE could benefit from this. And I don't know if it's just me, but a very important aspect of any game like this would be crafting items based on resources that are gated behind certain zones or monsters, like monster type. You get some bandage or some skin or whatever, and they're not gonna have any of this, which is, I don't know, I think it's kind of sad. So I think they kind of want to keep the crafting pretty much like D3, where you just farm some general resources and then craft it like random stuff, random outcome, instead of target farming, which is kind of sad and kind of kills the potential MMO appeal to me, because that's the main appeal for an MMO to me, which is just farming some special zones, special monsters, special dungeons.
But that takes more grinding, and not all the people can do that, I guess. That's why I guess Diablo 3 is more accessible for more people, you know what I mean, for the casual player.
Diablo is very grindy, man. If you want to start, if you want to grind some paragons and compete on the season ladder, it's super, super grindy. It's a lot grindier than PoE, actually. It's just super repetitive.
Okay.
Something else that's worth mentioning is normally historically at BlizzCon, if something is coming out before the next BlizzCon, they release a date for it. Right? So that it happens. If it's coming out before next year's BlizzCon, they will always have a date release. It's close enough, there's a date. Here's when it's going to launch. That didn't happen. When it's going to be the following year, they have always said soon, and then at the next BlizzCon, they put up a date, right?
Yeah, this time they said it's not going to be soon.
They said not only is it not going to be soon, it's not even going to be Blizzard soon.
So 3 years?
That's what they said. So what we're looking at is a minimum of 3 years away. So even if it was to try and compete with PoE, it's not looking at competing with PoE 4.0, it's looking at competing with PoE 5.0. That's how long we've got between now and the Diablo game coming out, which is another reason why I don't think I can get very excited. I'm looking at 3 years away. I still haven't quit smoking. I could be dead in 3 years. I'm trying, but I'm trying, but
The thing is, you don't have to try. You have to either stop or don't stop. That's what I did.
Just stop, dude.
Exactly.
Stop or don't
Easy.
stop, dude.
No,
One of
seriously.
both.
But that's how you stop smoking. You just don't do it. Like every cigarette you smoke, every nicotine portion you take is gonna just prolong your addiction. But
Yo, Marian, just stop forehead. Well, that's what I did, and that's what I did. That's what I actually did. Just don't smoke. But I gained 15 kilos, so it's worth it. Dude. Worth it.
I have a plan. If I haven't managed to quit by next league launch, I'm going to just not have any cigarettes in the house.
Oh my god!
No matter what, when league launch happens. Because I do not have time to leave. Like, I stream at league launch like 20 hours a day and then nap for like 3 and then have a shower and start again. I do not have time. So that's my if I can't get quit by then, I just won't have any and then I can't smoke. What am I going to do? Get up and leave mid-stream and be like, okay, I'll be back in half an hour. I'm going to go to the store? No. That's
I had
not
experience with this, man. I actually tried this exact thing. I tried it and I can tell you how it went and it was not pretty. So I was like,
cold turkey sounds more delicious than it is.
Not leaving my house, no tobacco, no nothing, right? So what ended up happening is like I was losing my mind so hard that I ended up just taking the butts of cigarettes in my ashtray to cut with a pair of scissors and just get the tobacco and roll a cigarette out of this.
Dude, I've been there, dude. I've been there.
It was not pretty, dude. I had to. I was molding like crazy on my computer. I was like, oh my god, I cannot map. I feel like the withdraw. I cannot map properly.
Man.
I couldn't map, man.
Yeah. That's the real struggle, dude. That's actually the real struggle right there. Oh man. Those days. Oh no.
That sounds like Far Rengar. Who's that?
We'll make an effort to be quit before then, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so any additions to the D4 discussion before we close that up for good?
You're jumping in and out.
Remove Martyr. Thank you.
I'm jumping in and out on the. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Stupid Discord. I'm gonna lower the threshold. Oh, it's on automatically. Who told you to put it on automatic?
Ouch.
Are you leaking some conversations right now?
I think everything is leaked right now, yeah.
I'm constantly leaking.
God.
It's
My
over,
secret
dude.
chat from the month of November has been leaked.
It's over.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Diablo 4 definitely hype. Let's talk a little bit about Blight and what kept us motivated, what kept us going in the last couple of weeks.
Oils.
Twitch Prime.
Oils.
Martyrs.
Twitch Prime. Oh no. Yeah, good one. Twitch Prime.
Who wants to start to share their experience?
I think Ibadda is probably get some good take on it because you're the only one playing hardcore like only, right?
Yeah, I only play hardcore, yeah.
All right.
You'll get over that.
I mean, my first and only comment is gonna be remove Martyr, Kappa. No, but honestly, the first 2 weeks I've been skipping Blight because the XP wise is very bad, as mostly if you know. XP wise it's bad.
And did that matter to you? You were pushing ladder or?
Yeah, of course. I've pushed ladder, died at rank 3, then pushed again. In one day, I got to 93.5%, and then I died to reflect, shave my head, forehead.
What build were you pushing with? What class? And
I was pushing with Tornado Shot, Deadeye, Wind Ripper, all the good stuff, and died to Ash Balls. We did literally one tier 1 Blight, the whole push, and then we were like, it's not good XP, so we're just gonna skip it. And yeah, after the push, I started doing Blight, and it was good. And honestly, the first 2 weeks, I didn't like Blight because it was, the idea of having tower defense in POE was just new, and I guess everyone had to get used to it. But after a while, I have to say I liked it. So yeah, I started to like Blight. So yeah, for me it's an okay league. It's an okay league.
Okay, so initially you had concerns that it was not going to be a good league, but then you liked it more than you thought. And Somayd, you liked it initially? Did you, when you watched the trailer, Tower Defense and POE? How hyped were you?
Okay, so when the trailer came out and the announcement came out, like we already decided with Havoc and Tai Killer that we were about, like, we wanted to race and get first 100. So at this point, I was pretty pumped, and we pretty much just ignored the patch in the league, and we were just practicing like 15 hours a day, like doing runs and all this. So like my interest was not really about the league; it was more about like the core game, pushing to 100 as fast as possible, and then like get into the league. So like when I saw the league announcement, I was not necessarily hype. Like I could tell that there was no end game, and this is pretty much the only thing I care about when there is a new league. It's like, what end game do we have? And like this was very limited, so my hype was very like, was not crazy, but I don't know, I was pretty pumped. That was also after a long streaming break where I was supposed to move to Poland, but the league got cancelled. So I was just pretty happy to just be able to finally just play some POE nonstop. And yeah, that's pretty much my excitement was not there. But now, after playing it for like 2 months, so at first I had like a very negative opinion about the league, and now like when this happens, when I start like what I call being a little bitch, I try to like recalibrate very, very quickly and just focus on what I like about the game. And so it's very easy for me to identify what I like, which is Herald of Ice, and that's it. No, just Herald of Ice and mapping a lot. And so I just focus on what matters. So the patch to me is extremely good. Like the masters, this is what keeps me in game right now. Like the master missions, you can stock like hundreds of them, and then like just shape your end game. And just the new assassin rework, the new necromancer rework, the raider. I love raider. It's a great ascendancy.
Raider is amazing.
Yeah, so it's more about like now it's just more about like having a nice, smooth, grindy experience, which is why I play PoE so much and why I've been playing for like 17,000 hours now. It's just go to the core of what I like, which is just mapping a lot, fast build, stacking currency, stacking, I don't know, good ideas for potential new builds, and share this whole experience with chat.
And you only found things you like in the core game, nothing about Blight, or did you find aspects?
I mean, the announcement is really, really good, but Blight in itself, I feel like it's nothing special besides the oils, right? There's just nothing special about it. Like it's like random chests. It's just random monsters that you smash, and then there is one extra tanky, extra BP monster that spawns sometime. And
it's gonna one tap you.
Yeah. Like I think Synthesis gets a lot of shit for being a very, very bad league, but to me it kind of set the tone for what endgame can be in PoE and what it probably should be, in my opinion. And so I'm kind of like Betrayal and Synthesis kind of shape my expectations going into the future of PoE, which is like 3 components, which is like crafting, bossing, and killing a lot of stuff. And I think like there's no boss, and the crafting is very limited for Blight, and so yeah, to me like the league kind of misses the point, but it's just one league, right? It's just 3 months, so I'm over it.
So I think I really, really, really like Blight and the Blight mechanic, and I don't like the reward for Blight and the lack of blighted maps, which is the opposite of last league, where I hated Legion, but really enjoyed Legion's rewards. Legion's rewards were sky high, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy the mechanic. I thought it was bullshit and boring. But the Blight, I really, really love, but then don't really feel rewarded for it. It's a lot better in tier 16 maps, but it's still only just okay, and definitely only okay if you're running a slower build. If you're on a speedy build, it's not really worth doing. And that makes me feel bad, because I think the mechanic on its own is actually pretty good now. It was a little dicey at the beginning, but it's really good now. Its lack of rewards being good has made it feel like shit, and I think it's made a lot of people hate it when they wouldn't have if it had really good rewards. Also, I feel like the amount of blighted maps I'm getting feels like the league has already gone core. That's how many blighted maps it feels like I'm getting.
So you feel like you should get 10 times as many?
10 or 20 or even 40. Let's put it this way. If I had never run any blighted map at all, and I just kept all of them, for the entire first month I played, which was about 450 hours, I had enough blighted maps to run 4 hours worth of content out of 450 hours.
1% did.
That is 1% of my playtime in Blight League inside the blighted maps.
How
And
does
that,
it
I think,
compare
is
to
where
Legion?
a huge... Well, I think that's where a huge... Well, I did a buttload more than that.
Like, I really feel like two very like easy fixes would have made the league infinitely more enjoyable for me. It's be like another fast forward button after the initial one, so you can, like, if you have a strong build, when you feel confident in your build, you can go faster. So that helps the the speedy build and like the fear of missing out on doing more maps. And also, like, if you have a boss in your map during the blight encounter, guaranteed oil chest. So more blighted maps, more oils. Yeah, I think those two small fixes would have saved the league for me. But
I'd have skipped guaranteed oils and I'd have just said guaranteed blighted map.
I think oils are fine, like the drop rate of oils, no?
Yeah, but it's just like you get blighted maps in the old chest, so it kind of like makes it more likely.
What I really wanted is its biggest downfall is that if me with my amount of playtime, I have 4 to 5 hours worth of blighted maps per month played. There will be people who played the entire first month who have 1 or none because they have full-time jobs and don't play the POE for a living. That seems unacceptable to me. I should be spending a decent chunk of my time doing Blight in the Blight League. And I really, really, really enjoy it. The Blight maps are amazing.
Yeah,
they're so much fun. Yeah. They're really, really good. And if I got to spend way more of my time in them, I would have had a lot more fun. Because they're really good. So that's my biggest gripe. I really, really liked Blight, and I just wanted to be able to actually play it.
Fun detected.
Yep.
Yeah, that's I guess that's something problematic with the league that I would confirm, even though I wouldn't say that they'd have to be 20 or 40 times as common. But it would definitely not have hurt to give out a little bit more of the only end game that we got league specifically. Because, I mean, we did get the synthesis bosses, but that's like in addition to the core game that it's not really part of the Blight League, so I wouldn't want to take that as an excuse for there not being a real Blight endgame. But coming out of Legion, I thought that Legion was a little bit too rewarding. Currency was dropping like candy, and you could, even on lower content, reliably just generate a big income. And I felt that it was a little bit too cheap, and they went a little bit overboard with taking that back. I feel like a lot of people criticized that, and they've applied that criticism, but the problem is that Blight, and that's often with GGG, they often like nerf or buff things based on feedback, but then they take all the approaches that they could have taken at once instead of just one aspect. And so I feel like the Blight and Legion give you the same chests, but the Blight chests are just less rewarding. And on top of that, you spend more time doing the average Blight than you spent doing the average Legion. And it doesn't scale with the better your build is. With a really good build, you could have gotten better rewards in Legion, and you could have cleared the Legion faster. But in Blight, you're still like locked down on this timer, which is, I think that's a big factor of why it feels so unrewarding. It's not just that the rewards are not as much as Legion, but it's also they make you wait for the rewards instead of kind of giving you away, like Somayd said, to fast forward and to finish it if your build is good enough for it.
I would have been way more tempted to go the other way. I really enjoy the timer. I think having a hard timer on it was great. I think slowing down the extra speedy boys is a good move, and that it bridges the gap between your like average Joe and your extra speedy boy a lot, because it makes it more worth it for the slower guy than it is for the fast guy. And I kind of like that, but I feel like it was just overall not rewarding enough is the problem. I mean, if it was just rewarding enough that your average like speedy guy mapper was always questioning whether it was worth doing or not, but couldn't quite figure it out, that would have been a good level for me. Because then everyone's slower than that, and the slower you were, and the more I don't know how to, like, the more of an average player you were, the more it would have been worth doing for you, right? Like I think that would have been better. I wouldn't ever have wanted a speed up button, especially because if you give a speed up button, what'll happen is everybody presses the speed up button, and then even the people who can't handle it, and then they're like, it's overtoned, it's so shit. Right? Like, you can't. That's not the sort of control you want to give people.
I wouldn't have wanted like a speed up button that would like just spawn all the waves at once, but some agency to the player, whether you fast forward or not, outside of just the initial tower building phase, which we all always skip because otherwise, I mean, even after that ends, it takes a moment for the things to spawn, and you can still build powers while build towers, divine towers. You can still build them while things are spawning. Yeah, I feel we didn't talk about the NPC. NPC was awesome. I like the energy and stuff. But
I liked singing.
Yeah, I liked it as well on day one. And then I was like, that's gonna get old soon. And it got old soon.
And it did.
Yeah. What do you guys think about like the overall like character design of PoE? Like character design, art?
I really like the art. I really like the art. Yeah.
Here's the thing I really liked about this NPC. It burrowed into my mind so deep that I spent a few days playing the Outer Worlds afterwards. I don't know if any of you have played that, but there's a damage type of weapon in there that I can't remember the name of, but it makes your thing red. Your weapons makes them all red, and when you kill someone with it, it turns them into a pile of ash. And I spent half a day running around with one of those weapons, turning everyone into ash, just singing, and the unrighteous will turn to ash, just for like 4 hours on stream, just turning everyone into. It burrowed into my mind and it wouldn't leave.
I always thought.
Go for it.
No. Please.
I was just saying, I stopped using dialogue since Betrayal. Like, I haven't used dialogue in my game since Betrayal. And I tried for synthesis a little bit, but like the voice acting, it was getting to me, man. I think I heard me lag. No, it was too much for me, man. I was like, all right.
I actually really like the Betrayal voice acting, but I think it was so unlucky with how it was overlapping with each other, and like no one would actually get to listen to the voice lines, and some voice lines were also exceptionally cringy. Other ones, like some characters I really like Jorgen, for example, is one of my favorite Betrayal characters. Like strength in numbers is still just strength, or whatever he says. He has some cool lines, he has a cool voice, he has a cool character. But overall, I feel like it's a little bit too poppy, a little bit too comic, too trying to appeal to all sorts of audiences. And they would do well if they get inspired by Blizzard, taking a step back and going back to the more darker looking things. And I don't know, I feel like PoE needs to feel more threatening. That was one of the big things that drew me into the game, was that it actually took that train of thought that Diablo 2 had and tried to continue that and tried to think what would happen if we made a game today with the same intentions and the same goal, but then just adding new ideas and new systems. And from that, it just, starting with, I want to say Bestiary, it just went into this really weird, edgy, cringy sort of corner in general. It has its moments. I like Einhar. I like a lot of the Syndicate members. But for example, It That Fled is a little bit on the line for me. It was like, it gave this, it got that. It's like, sometimes it's just a little bit too much. For me personally, that's just, I don't know. I like the overall picture that they're painting. I just feel like they shouldn't use all the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah. Like the goofiness, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of goofiness in games. I don't know.
Well, it undermines the how threatening the characters feel. I watch a lot of Star Wars reviews, and I don't want to bring too much Star Wars in here, but I think that just perfectly compares to the character of General Hux in the new sequel trilogy, who was first supposed to be like an equal to Kylo Ren and like a competitor in the eyes of the Supreme Leader, and then in the next one he was just a comedic element, and he just fell on his face all the time. And it's like, how are you supposed to take that character serious? How are you supposed to think of the enemy as something threatening when they just always like fail and are used for comedic momentums? Comedic
you don't,
relief.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, what's gonna happen in the next expansion? Is the Shaper gonna stumble and fall on his tentacle mouth, or
doesn't he already?
I think the next step would be some weep stuff in POE. That's like the next step on the pyramid.
Oh god, please no.
I would love that, dude. Like you just
some anime stuff in POE.
Yeah, imagine Zana, just you kill Shaper and Zana is like, oh thank you senpai. It's like that would be great, dude. And then that would be fantastic. And then there's like a special arc like only for like 18 plus with Elder and Zana. But trust me, you don't want to see it, dude. Like the tentacles and he's like, oh yeah, I would watch this. I'm a degenerate, like through and through, man.
I mean, you already have this MTX for Ancestral War Chief, right? The tentacles. That's something I was.
Dude, it's way too expensive. What are you talking about?
That one is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I remember the other one, the Ancestral War Chief MTX. That's like this box that opens up the doors, and then the stick comes out and hits the monster. That one is so
I don't know that one.
But yeah, it would go a long way if there was actually some world building that made me feel like the enemies were scary and threatening rather
Corel
than...
is really scary. Corel is like creepy as fudge.
Yeah. And Torah, mostly because she hurts like hell.
But talking about the blight, about the chess mechanics, so they're basically the same as Legion, right? Like basically.
Outside of the blight chests that gives you the blighted maps and the oils, yes. That's one more type that they added. And they added the Legion chest, which were the Legion chests a Legion? Yeah, they had chests that drop incubators and splinters, right?
Yeah, they had, yeah.
Yeah, so those we also have now. So what was your what were you trying to say? Sell us your point.
I was trying to say just that they just repeated a mechanic for a league twice in a row. That's what I wanted to say, to point out.
Okay.
I mean, just the reward structure.
Yeah.
And they tweaked the amount, but they repeated.
I mean, let's be honest. It felt really like a lot of Legion. I'm not saying it's bad, but it really felt a lot for me like Legion, like Blight. That's for sure. Like.
Yeah, getting the rewards.
No questions asked. Like for me, for sure. You know, you're
probably right.
You activate. You know, you activate this monolith, this Legion. You open it. You kill monsters and you open chests. That's kind of the league. That was kind of the league.
And your occasional one shot. It's very. It's a critical part.
I forgot that one, man. How can I forget?
If you're running a build that's got 2.8k life, you can't complain about one shots. Like I just saying.
Just gotta layer. Layer defenses. Like
I was not getting one shot by any of the Legion bosses induced tier 16s on builds that were meant to run tier 16s.
I mean, that's the beauty
that
of
didn't happen.
In Blight
meant to run tier 16 is like kind of a.
In Blight, sorry. Legion was
in Blight, no, yeah.
Legion
was a one-shot fest. Holy
Legion was destroying my 9k life and layered defense on top of layered defense characters.
Yeah,
but Blight is not like that. It's not actually that dangerous. Yeah, I don't know why people are if you've got 2.8k life in a tier 16,
I'm complaining. Just getting one shot is part of doing. If you play softcore and don't get one shot, it's like you're not playing to your full potential. You gotta take a few rip here and there, catch some damage, catch some death portal.
You gotta go fast, right? So, who's your favorite unique Blight boss? I guess. Who's your favorite, guys? For me, it's the horse, dude.
Big jumpy dude.
The Kitava horse.
He's scary. This guy is scary.
The big jumpy goat man who just like leaps along and doesn't attack everyone. He's hilarious.
The fucking Roa that charges at your pump, and then when you kill it, like it stands up again, and you're like, what the fuck, I killed it. But then you don't look at the map and you don't see that the symbol didn't disappear. And I don't know, that was my experience with that Roa in a nutshell.
So do you guys like engage in every single blight, or do you have like a minimum tier of map at which you start doing blight?
I don't do it in white maps unless I'm leveling and bored and I want to play a little bit. But like it feels so unrewarding in white maps compared to how much time it takes.
What? Who does white maps?
Basically red maps, yeah.
But the first time in a league, I will do white maps and yellow maps, and that is it. I'm only going to level in Delve from now. I haven't, since my first character, I have not run a yellow or white map. Well, get some maps, go delving, delve until you go to red maps. Easy.
Sometimes when you're playing in hardcore, you don't have a character that lives in order to collect sulfite for your leveling experience. So you're going to have to map. I don't know. I just died the other day at level like 78 in a tier 4 map. So I don't know. What do you expect me at 78? Are you expecting me to go into yellow maps and die there? Or are you expecting me to farm blood aqueducts, or if I don't have sulfite? I need to farm white maps. I actually felt bad for farming a tier 4 because I died in it. I was like, shit, I should have farmed a tier 2. But yeah.
I mean, it depends how much life you have, right? At that point.
Absolutely.
I mean, my opinion, you can do 4K life. You can do yellow maps with 4K life.
Yeah, but you can die.
I think you can die with 5K, 6K life as well. If you get an unlucky crit.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I got shocked by lightning damage crit. Yeah. There was something I still wanted to talk. We milked all the points dry. Or Somayd, you were raising a hand. Was that saying you want to say something?
Sir, please let me talk. Wait, let me try to find
I do that sometimes so that I don't forget that I wanted to say something.
Yeah, I want to talk about something actually. It's kind of like off topic, but
okay.
I want to talk a little bit about racing and like speculations and all this, because ExileCon is coming really fast, and there is something that actually kind of surprised me, is the fact that they have like a pretty big prize pool for the race that's coming. So it's going to be an Act 5 race. And there's a pretty big prize pool that's coming, which is surprising. So first place, I think, gets 10K. Second place, 5K. And third place gets, like, I don't know, pocket change.
10K dollar, dude? No.
Yeah, dollar reduce.
Australian dollars. Probably Australian dollars.
They're different.
First of all, it would be New Zealand dollars if they were doing that.
10K is huge. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think it's dollar, like American dollars. And so...
Wait, New Zealand and Australia have different currencies?
Yeah, but they're different countries. I mean, I joke that New Zealand is just a state of Australia all the time, but they are actually different countries.
But wouldn't it be economically smarter to have the same? I don't know. I have no idea about economy. Let's open that box.
Isn't it like kind of far away? Like, what's the distance between Australia and New Zealand? Like,
it's going to take me about 2 hours and 30 minutes to fly there. I can fly within Australia for like 10 without leaving Australia.
Okay.
So
well, it's pretty close.
It's very close.
Yeah. But just I'm wondering, like, if they're going to start working towards like more of this, or if it's just, you know, kind of giving the racing community, like throwing money at them, like, here, shut up. There's like a prize. Do you guys think there is any future, like, in POE for racing and like more speedrunning? Because it's clear that PvP is probably never going to happen in this game. So having
Racing's
another
going to
sort
keep
of
happening.
Okay.
Yeah,
that ties into what I said earlier with the if D4 is successful with what they're trying to do, with getting the people who wanted group play and the MMO kind of ARPG, then PoE will have to double down on its hardcore roots and will have to, you know, try to do things that get the real hardcore ARPG grinders who want like complicated systems get back into the game. And then also they're going to do more racing. I mean, they've been saying that they like racing. They've been saying that they want racing, and they've been doing not enough for racing. But let's not forget that racing originates. Like, GGG did originally do racing, and that's where all the racing community is founded on, right? Is that because GGG did racing in the past, that's what we all liked so much that we continue that. And I think they know that and they acknowledge that. And I think that the ExileCon race event is not just giving back to the people who've been wanting racing for so long, but also kind of acknowledging that there is racing stuff that has to be done in the future. I hope, at least. That's what I'd like to think.
Yeah. Because I've been thinking of... Yeah, sorry.
I had an idea that I know it isn't going to happen, but it's what I really, really want to happen at the race at ExileCon. I would like the race at ExileCon to happen before we get shown or able to play the 4.0 beta. And I would like their playable demo to be acts 1 through 5 with no practice or like warning given to the races. And I would just like to throw them on the spot into a 4.0 client with the playable beta just being that first 5 acts and be like, there's your race, learn to adjust on the fly, good luck everyone.
Dude, there's no way there is like a product that won't crash live on 5
That
acts.
would
There's
be...
no way.
But it would be amazing if it was
would
done
be
like
great.
that.
Oh yeah, that's a
Like,
good idea.
by the way, you know all of your practice. I'm glad that you know POE, but now you have to learn to adjust on the fly. Just figure it out. That would be so good. Like, I would lose my mind. It would be so good. Yeah, it's not going to happen because they're under pretty tight time constraints to fit the race in and whatnot. And you wouldn't want to be able to have those tight time constraints if you were going to throw everyone in. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying, if they did it that way, holy shit, would it be?
It's a nice shower. It's a nice shower thought. How cool would it be if they did that? But honestly, I'd be already happy if they just provided like battle royale for the ExileCon goers or for the people who stayed at home. Give us.
It's gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder to practice though, if it's like that.
That's the point.
Yeah, I've got my favorite idea.
That's the point. I don't want to test how much they've practiced. I want to test how good they are at adjusting on the fly. That would just be more fun to me.
That would be pissed because like I'm kind of like I'm following what Havoc is doing in terms of practice. Like we talk a lot, so I know all of his splits, all of his strats, all of this, and the amount of hours he put in like in practice is just it's insane. Like this is twice a full-time job every day, and is getting ready. Like he wants the big win, and so like, and this has been going on for over a month. So, and everyone in the race is putting like this many hours in terms of practice. So they would be, I think, really, really dissatisfied with that. But that would be fun for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I'm not a competitor.
To the others, but yeah.
It wouldn't be unfair to everyone. Everyone would be in the same boat. It's only unfair if you give one person an advantage or disadvantage.
Well, it wouldn't reward like the practice work, right? Because the people who didn't practice as much as others, they could get away with like more. Because I think like when you go to the very, very limit of the game, it becomes like very crazy, like the small details. Like it's scrapping a second here and there. So like the more you practice, there's diminishing returns in practice, but those diminishing returns, they're the difference between like first and second place. So some are putting the work like to reach like those, to scrap those seconds off. Whereas if someone practiced not as much, is still going to be able to compete and adapt like on a new patch. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I had like 2 weeks or 3 weeks where I actually went into racing, and it was a lot of fun. Like I never raced before, and with some guides online, you can just start racing, guys. Like honestly, you just need to do a little bit of practice. Yeah. Like leveling with a timer is just a whole different world, like a whole different thing than not leveling with a timer. Yeah.
I know it's funny that during the ExileCon race, like racers won't have access to a timer.
Oh,
so
they don't?
Actually, yeah, they don't. So that's a pretty interesting detail.
The in-game clock.
Yeah, actually, in the past, I tried to run without a timer, and you get slower. Like, I would get slower by a lot. Like, maybe, I don't know, per act, maybe 1 minute per act.
There's no way you don't just pull out your phone and hit a timer button on it and put it above the keyboard.
I think like they have like a pretty strict rules, like no macro, no nothing. Maybe a watch.
They're taking their phones away. You're not allowed to cheat. You could be looking up crafting recipes on the wiki.
We actually don't have phones, Exile.
Yeah. Exactly. No phones here. It's like it's just in the entrance area for ExileCon, everyone is asked to give their phone away. It's like no phones here. We have no announcement for phones.
Would be a fun idea, though.
But how cool would it be? I think like if they finish the races, like, and then Chris Wilson is there and addresses the audience and says, "How did you like it, guys? How did you enjoy this amazing race? How would you like it if there was more racing in the future? We got this entire racing system." And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen in that way, but I'd be super hyped if they brought back race seasons or like some sort of racing hosted by GGG, even if it's like just one monthly race. Where you get like, I mean, they've been talking about making asynchronous races happen. Where there's a lot of problems with it because first of all, it takes the hype out of a race event if people can start at different times and it doesn't really matter when you start, and you can't watch all the people like head to head, toe to toe, like at the same point and stuff. But it would do so much for accessibility for the average, person that doesn't dedicate their full-time life to Path of Exile. If there's a 2-hour race every month that they can start like somewhere during the week or during a certain period. And also what I'd really like is, that we talk about that almost every podcast in the last 10 podcasts or something like that. Give us more custom league options. Give us medium core. Give us the ability to make races. Yeah. Beyond, yeah. What now? I mean that would be too rewarding. Like they have to. I mean, in theory, they could give you the ability to make voided leagues, but I'm not sure how far they want to go with like giving power to the race or like the league creation community. But they should.
Then
give
you
us
would
a little
only
bit
play
more.
in voided leagues. You just never play the base game again.
Yeah, exactly. It would be
It's
sort of
just like I'll just play every league like a mayhem, and then I'll have all the loot in the world, and
then we'll
my
make
league will be over in 2 weeks every time.
I have to agree with Ibadda in chat. Like that's one thing I thought about when they brought out private leagues. I thought no, please no, because that's gonna split the community even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess.
Especially coming from hardcore.
Yeah,
I've moved to softcore relatively recently, but the introduction of private leagues cut the hardcore community down to about a third of what it was.
Yeah.
A lot of them left for softcore solo self-found. Like that, they were just like, "Oh, this is a different way to challenge myself," and now they're gone. And or for private league and solo self-found and just like a bunch of different things that they've gone to, and a lot of them are just bleeding out of the hardcore community, which is
I've got a great
one of the
idea
largest reasons I quit hardcore. Is I spent 3 weeks looking for a single stat, Watcher's Eye, that 5 different stats I could have used. And I had like 140 exalts to spend. Like I didn't care about the money. And I just had whoops up on all of them for 3 weeks before I found a single Watcher's Eye with one mod that I wanted. And I was like, I really needed that to like do the build and then be able to do a build guide on it. And I was just like, that just took so long. I'm just going to softcore.
Yeah, I feel you there. I feel you. Yeah.
So it would be cool if there was like, if there was something that remedied that would incentivize people to play in the same league rather than diversifying. Like a sort of system that rewards playing in leagues together. So that I don't mind that a lot of the hardcore trade population is going to play in private leagues or in solo self-found, but it would be cool if they brought some sort of incentive to avoid further segregation.
Easy. Make trading better. People
Right,
might come back.
Well, how make trading better? Like at a trading house? No, right? That's not what you mean.
Oh God, no! Oh fuck no!
Oh, okay, good.
No.
Okay.
It would be the same system as now, and except like when you contact someone via the website. So the when you want your item, you find your item, you contact the person. It creates like kind of an invite, and if you accept the offer, you said yes, and then there's a chest in your hideout that the person can access, buy the item, put the currency in, and then it goes into a remove only tab or something. If you decide to, and if the person wants to lower the price or like to pay in different currency, they're gonna give an offer that you accept or not, and you can talk to them. So it's pretty much like you don't have to leave Delve or Lab or whatever. That would be
It's
fantastic.
like trade terminal.
That's exactly almost what I want. I want exactly what it is now. I still have to be online to trade.
Same. Yep.
Etc. My idea was to have like Kadibro be a master in my hideout and let me put like premium stash tabs on Kadibro. And when people come looking for their loot, I can hit the like accept button and they can come into my hideout, but they can't get into my portals or anything because they're not really in my party. And they would just be able to walk over to Kadibro and buy my item from him like he's a vendor. And then when I come back, I could talk to Kadibro and just receive my currency back from him. And it would be the same as it is now, but it wouldn't force me to leave my delve. It wouldn't force me to stop bossing. It wouldn't force me to leave my lab.
Especially labbers are gonna love you right now.
Like, how many times have you been like, I just want this thing that's like 2 chaos, but nobody wants to sell it. It's not because I don't want 2 chaos. I want to make 2 chaos. Like, that's a thing. But I'm not going to leave lab for 2 chaos. I'm not even going to leave my map for 2 chaos. Nope. I want to do your 2 chaos trade. I do, but I'm only going to do it if I happen to be in my hideout waiting when you message me. Otherwise, I have to come back for it. It's not worth it. And as far as how would mass buyouts work, it would be really, really easy. You would still have the stash tabs all there. Your premium tabs would be there. And if you want to buy currency or whatever, you would just, like you would buy it from a vendor, you could just like Control-Shift-Click and it would just take currency out of your inventory and give it to Kadibro and I could come back and pick it up. Maybe I've got a map stash tab. Maybe I buy a second map stash tab just for this. Maybe I give them more money just because I want to be able to sell my maps. So I buy a second map stash tab so I can give it to Kadibro and I dump all my extra maps in there. So people can come through and be like, oh, I'd like to buy that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. And then they can leave.
I don't know if you guys realize how much addicted we are. So like we're so frustrated with certain aspect of the game that we like, I will pay for this. Even though it should be part of the game, right? It should be part of the main game and like we can focus on paying on cosmetic. Like I don't think we should pay for quality of life. That's like that feels bad, but I would pay.
But I will.
Like that's the thing.
But you would.
Yeah, I would, and that's the big problem. Like I'm like, can we just have like a really great experience, no frustration, on purpose, so we stay more? Like I don't know. I'm like one of those weird people. Like the more fun I have, the more smooth my experience, the more loot I get, the more I play. It's not like I don't feel like it's okay. I get one character, it's over. I had too much loot. Now I can just play Diablo. I can just play League of Legends or whatever. Like the more loot I have, I can think of like so many builds to try out, so many items to craft that are usually like a game that has good quality of life that doesn't ruin my wrist. Like I want to play it more. I don't know.
Okay, I just need to touch on that. You said don't ruin your wrist. For the last 2 leagues now, and continuing on, I no longer 6-link anything myself. Despite the fact that with my amount of playtime, it is profitable to do my own 6-links. That is better. I make more money. If I was to buy fuses and 6-link things in bulk and sell them, that actually makes me money. But also it costs me real life money because I'm going to have an operation on my arm because that is too much clicking and I can't use an auto clicker and I can't for the life of me, I can't figure out what letting me use an auto clicker could possibly do to give me any advantage to warrant the idea that it's cheating in any way other than not give me RSI in my hand.
Yeah.
What would you use an auto clicker? What would using an auto clicker give you as an advantage over other players other than not hurting your hand, wrist, and arm?
Like I get frustrated things like those. Honestly,
time investment. That's the whole point.
Well, then make the auto clicker automatic and only click 3 times a second. If that's slower than what I click now, fine. Sure. I gotta sit there and wait. But just don't murder my arm.
That would be so pog that it just a feature in game. You like spam 1,000 fuse, stop at 6-link, stop at 5-link, like checkboxes, whatever, if you want to, and you can just click and let it auto click. And even if it goes at a slower rate than if you're clicking, but if it actually saves you your wrist and your fingers, and you can go and get a coffee while you're linking an item, it's not an unfair advantage if it's available to everyone.
Yep. And it wouldn't like ruin the game or make it like more casual. It's just like
Not in any way.
I think,
like, unlike suggestions where people say, like, I want auto sort, I want all the currency items to go in my currency tab automatically, want all my maps into my mapping tab.
Auto sort, like, dude, come on, like, auto sort is so important. Like, it baffles me that we still don't have it. Like,
no, we definitely don't want that.
Why?
Oh shit! Let's go.
What?
Let's go, dude.
Like,
Auto
honestly,
sort,
like,
yes or
it's
no?
satisfactory. Like, you have your inventory, right? And then you're like, there's a few things you keep with you between maps, and like not having a button to like rearrange things in your inventory. I don't know. It's like it's so like backward. It's so like middle aged, dude. I think
It depends what you want to do with the game. Like, I think that adds to the scale of your game. Like, how good are you at playing Tetris? You know, like how good
and
are
it's
you?
also
at...
decision making. If you let me auto sort stuff, if you let me auto put away all my currency or whatever, like if that's a thing, then it becomes less of an option about what do I want to pick up and what don't I, because it's going to take time, and that time is taken away. Now you sped up my gameplay again, which is the opposite of what we need. And if you start dropping all currency in stacks and have them so that if you pick up one piece of a currency, it picks up all of them in a radius or whatever, you've again just made gameplay faster. You've devalued those currencies. Again, we don't need the game to go any faster.
No, I'm talking about auto sort.
You,
like your inventory, you click a button and it just like makes everything like just nice in your inventory, like in your inventory character, like not picking up currencies or anything. This is like,
have you played last
you're
night?
mischaracterizing like what I'm saying right now, because I'm just saying
how many maps do you carry with you at a time?
15.
Like multiple.
That's the same as me. Yeah. I carry 15 roll 15 maps and run them. What's your auto sort button gonna do?
Do you have them on the right side or do you have them on the left side?
I have them on the far right, so they're away from my loot.
Exactly. Yeah, I do the same. Yeah, I do the same.
An auto sort would merge them all together, no matter what. That would be the worst. Like,
oh shit, that would be the worst. that would actually trigger me, dude. I want.
Yeah,
on my
it'd be horrible.
That would be horrible.
My maps. I also here's the one quality of life I do want. When I'm taking stuff out of my stash and in my inventory, when I rapidly click on them all, like control click them to come out, they all come on in the left hand side. I would like to control shift or control alt click them and have them dropped in the other side of my inventory, so that I can pull my maps out and have them show up on the right side of my inventory, and then loot stuff through my maps, having them show up on the left side of my inventory. That is the only thing I would like. I just want to be able to chuck them in the other side.
I think for people that play this game for like a couple thousand hours, like you guys, I think it's just we are just tired of looting. I think that's where Somayd is going, right? You want more gameplay, less looting, more bosses, more kills, or
well, I already turn off all.
Is that what you're thinking, Somayd?
I already turn off all.
Wait, what did you say?
Like, is that what you're thinking? No,
like did you just say like, oh, you're a new player? So, dude, I've played 7 now there this game.
No, like
no, I'm like, don't try to characterize me like the filthy casual who just want like quality of life options, because like I feel like there's
no one said that.
There is like this part of the community in POE that thinks that if you're a hardcore player, if you play a lot, like you want the game to be like cock and ball torture, like, oh yeah, it has to be like the most annoying possible. But it's not the case. Like there's a bunch of players who play, like, who commit their life to this game and who want just quite like simple quality of life options, and like certain aspects to be like simplified, some other like harder. So like, and then you were talking about like splitting the community, but like this type of statement, it splits the community to just saying, oh yeah, you're not a true hardcore player unless you like, you know, have to change your wrist every 2 months. You're not a true hardcore player
to change
unless
your
you like
wrist
10 times a day. Like, come on, guys. Like, and then you're talking about splitting the community, but like that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And so I think like giving option to do certain stuff is not a bad thing. And it's not because you don't use it, like that other players would not need it, right?
Yeah, no, but yeah. But what I wanted to say is,
well, let
for
me
people that
rephrase
play
your
this game
question.
for a couple thousand hours, like Somayd, they're just tired of looting. They want to do more kills. They want to do more bosses instead of looting. That's it, I think. No.
I think the question that you're trying to ask is, Somayd, do you think that is more frustration that has built up over the massive amount of time that you spent playing the game? Or do you think that it's inherently bad design and that you would also dislike it if you hadn't played it for such a long time? Because a lot of the frustrations that we have with Path of Exile are due to fatigue and due to playing it so long, right?
No, Martyr. Sorry, but that's Marty.
I just.
I don't
my
really
favorite
understand the
ghost.
question.
Is your frustration with the loot sorting that makes you want to have an auto loot sorting? Do you think that it's just straight up better design if the game lets you auto sort things, or do you think that you're just frustrated over a long amount of time?
No. So what made me realize like I just kind of need an auto sort? Like I never really played with an auto sort before, but then I played Satisfactory, and like it was really smooth, right? Like you're just picking up resources, you use some of them and you keep some of them, but sometimes you kind of want to see like the inventory space you have, like when you're like mapping or something, and just like I don't know, I just like the option that press a button. That's just this.
I think there's no harm in having an auto sort. I'm way less opposed to having an auto sort on the inventory than having an auto stash feature that just takes everything out of your inventory into the respective tabs. Because some people tell me that that's really what PoE needs, and I have to oppose that. But I don't think like an auto sort inventory would hurt. I don't think I personally want it, but it's not something I strongly oppose.
Yeah, I don't. That particular thing, the only reason that I would oppose it is because that is a slippery slope that leads people to wanting other things that are very similar that I would be very opposed to. But auto-suiting just the inventory, it would never be a button that I press because it's just incredibly inefficient and a bad button and I would never want to use it. But if other people wanted to use it, that would just slow them down, so that's fine by me. Like, it's a bad... I think they're terrible buttons. I would never use it. But as long as it's an option and I don't have to, then I wouldn't give a shit.
I think the option would be nice to have. People that wants to do it, they can do it.
Yeah. Like, I guess if you pull out one map at a time and you fill your inventory up every map, then maybe it would help you. But if you pull out 15 maps at a time and you only have to vendor every 3 or 4 maps because you don't pick anything up, then you're not going to want auto sort. It's going to be more harm than good. Which is generally what I do. I vendor about every 3 maps. So I just don't pick anything up. Everything's hidden on my loot filter. There's not a 6 socket or an alcohol hire. It's just not there.
Okay, I feel like we've spiraled away from the core discussions, although I'm not sure what the core discussions are anymore. But we went via racing and the future of racing. Our expectations, I guess we started with what are our expectations for ExileCon, and then we talked about the whole racing thing, and then went into quality of life in Path of Exile. And I generally would like to combine the 2 topics with ExileCon and Blight. It's like to a little bit to close on the Blight topic. What do we expect from Blight in the future? What do we expect from Blight in the next league? How would we like to see it go core? I know that's a question that has been answered before, but not on this podcast. So if we would just quickly talk about what do we like about Blight, what do we want to go core, what does have to change, and what are we hyped to see for future expansions. I would just quickly go on record and start with I'd really like blighted maps to be part of the game if they manage to further improve them in terms of performance. I haven't run any in quite recently, but they still perform pretty badly. Not as bad as on release, but they said that they really want them to feel epic and like a lot of monsters, and they went really hard on a lot of monsters, and that can be problematic at times. But having blighted maps as a Zana option, just like the synthesis maps, would be great, and having that as an access for oils would also be great, because I don't think that annoyance are going to go away, or I hope they're not going to go away, because they're a fun mechanic that honestly doesn't even give you that much power creep. It's a lot of power, but it's reasonable. Like if you compare it to, I don't know, the Legion Jewels, which were insane.
Yeah.
It's reasonable and it has a nice place.
And it's power creep in the right way. I'm generally against power creep. I've been on record a lot saying we are far too strong. We should have nearly a quarter or less the amount of damage we've currently got. Like, I'm very heavy into there's way too much power creep. We all need to be a lot weaker, or mobs all need to be a lot stronger if that makes people feel more comfortable, even though it's the same thing. But anointments specifically are power creep in the right way for me. They're interesting things that have allowed me to do build enabling things that have changed, like just being able to pick up one thing from the other side of the tree that I don't have to travel for, has made things very interesting and has let me do builds that I otherwise wouldn't. And when you enable builds, or you enable different ascendancies to take or to make different builds, like when they couldn't before, that is the right kind of power creep. That's the kind of power creep I like. And I just don't want to see them go anywhere. That's the, like, if we lose blighted maps, we lose blighted maps. If we don't have blights in map, I'm fine with that too. I like blighted maps. They're fun. I don't care if they disappear. They didn't make enough of an impact on me. I enjoyed them, but there wasn't enough of an impact on me that I'm going to be super sad if they go. It is just anointments that I really want to keep somehow.
Yeah, like oil should stay, blighted maps should stay. That's about it. Like, honestly, like
Cassia can go just merge her into Navali.
Yeah.
Blight maps should really stay. They're really, really a lot of fun. Like, I think they're more fun for me than actually Legion encounters. Opening Blight chests are more fun than opening Legion chests. I don't know why. And yeah, that's why I think Blight maps should stay. Oils are really, really good. That's why what Balor said already about making some builds easier to make than without it. So yeah.
Also, it's pretty easy to like incorporate with the game, just like, you know, once every 10 map, like a lot of other mechanics. So that's pretty good. I felt like it's not really hard to transition Blight to core game.
Yeah. And I'd probably be more excited about doing the Blight in a map if I only see it once every 10 or 15 maps or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's going to be probably
maybe
the same
oils, maybe oils. Yeah.
I think it's going to be the same as Monolith. You're gonna meet it once every 10 maps or something.
Maybe a Sextant.
Maybe. Oh yeah.
A Scarab.
A Saxon would be OP though to get oils. It would be really easy, but yeah. I guess.
Definitely there needs to be a divination card that awards 3 random oils. Just like the
so
3 voices one that gives you a random 3
Oh.
essences. That would be cool.
It would usually be garbage, but I would farm the shit out of that just for the maybe I get 3 golds though. Probably
so
not, but I might.
What map would it be? It needs to be like thematic, right? So which map would be like the best for oil?
The bathhouse map?
The dig
Mud guys are.
bathhouse.
We went 2 different ways with that. I was thinking like mud guys are.
Yeah, same. But guys, there's the first thing that came up.
Yeah.
No, obviously it should be the blighted maps.
Oh, they could just make blighted maps drop a decent amount of oils and then just keep it in the blighted maps, and that would be fine.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you've got blighted maps, you know, not often because it's not the core anymore, but often enough that your average player is going to see a few of them, that would be all right.
Cassia as a master would not go well, right? Maybe having Cassia as a master next to Einhar with all the other guys. And that you get dailies and you can force blights on maps.
I don't know if Blight is like impactful enough for it to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But then we need a new currency for like something as Harbinger Orbs for blighted maps, maybe. But then, you know, different currency.
Oh, you mean like a currency that could randomly transform a map into a blighted map?
Yeah, maybe
that would be actually
like
interesting.
Yeah, I think that could be an option.
But what would the currency item do? Like, if it doesn't transform the map into the blighted version?
Maybe it makes it harder without rewards. Maybe. An oil-looking currency. I'm thinking about right now, but you know, I'm not a game developer. But that's what I think. Maybe some sort of oil that you have to put on a map, and maybe you get a blighted map out of it. A special oil.
An essential one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. It's like Harbinger Orbs bump up the tier of the map by 1, and then they have a chance to give you a Harbinger map. I'm just thinking, what would the blighted map currency do with the map if it doesn't turn it into a blighted map? But yeah,
I mean,
if anything, I would like to see that be not a currency item as much as something that you would put in the map device, and it would guarantee you a blighted map to drop inside the map you ran. Then you would still keep a random nature. You wouldn't be able to target the exact blighted map you want, because otherwise everyone would just target the exact one that's
the best.
Whatever the equivalent of burial chambers is on any league or whatever.
Is there a meaningful difference between blighted maps?
Yes.
Scarab, yeah. A Scarab would do, right? Scarab, like Oblivion.
Scarab would do something like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, is there a meaningful difference between like a blighted pier and a blighted burial chambers and a blighted shrine? Because as far as I know, they're just like
that you kill. All the mobs that you kill that drop stuff from around the pump can drop divination cards from the map.
Other than the divination cards, I mean, like in terms of blight layout, in terms of blight difficulty.
No. Not
so
really.
that's only for the sake of divination cards, you would pick different maps.
It's really just like, is the map open and so it'll be nice, or is it like a shit map like dungeon where it's going to be going in and out of all the doorways and stuff? That's pretty much it. Yeah, and it's tier. Yeah.
You got me excited now. Oh. It's definitely going to be interesting to see. I really hope that they move away from the generic implementation that they do with stuff like Legion, where it just spawns at 10%, into more like an inventive way of implementing it. Maybe not as far as Betrayal, which, you know, had a really, really smart and an intricate way of tying the existing previous leagues into the contemporary league, or into the league at the time. But yeah, just some different way than just, you know, 10%. It just feels boring without, like, I don't know, without sounding. I don't want to say make it sound bad. I think it's always interesting if there's like a special rule, like a special thing. I'm trying to think of an example, but really, like, the only thing.
I can't remember who suggested this, but it wasn't my idea. I heard it on someone else's stream. But someone did say they could do a thing with the Atlas that was like a storm of some sort. Hang on. Whew. Right. That would be like you could open your Atlas and there would be like a little storm on it that might move over it that would be different for everyone. And that some league mechanic, like Legion, for instance, could be in that little storm. Like, that's their Legion armies fighting their way across this Atlas. And that if you ran the maps that were in there, you would have Legion on them. And then those little storms would just, you know, move around and stuff. I forget whose idea that was, but to me it sounded like a really, really good idea for a way to make content exist without just having it be a 10% put in thing where they just randomly move around the Atlas itself, which would also promote chasing different maps around the Atlas rather than running your same shaped or elded map forever, which I do now. Just run the same elded map or the same shaped map or whatever I'm doing all of the time, and they've done a decent job of making it slightly more rewarding, like trying to encourage me to run more than the one map over and over again. But we could use a few more things to push in that direction to make that a little bit better, and I think that would be one of them that would go really well.
Yeah, I really like that. I always wanted to have like something on the Atlas of Worlds that moves. Like, basically, since they did Warbands and Tempest, I don't know whether you guys played those leagues. Like, that was on the 2.0 release when Act 4 was released. That was when they still did different leagues for softcore and hardcore. And then in hardcore, they had Tempest League, and in softcore, they had the Warbands. And on different maps at a different time, like I think per hour or something like that, you had different influences. And back then there was no Atlas of Worlds, so it was kind of hard, and they had to, like, there was some player tools that tracked what is on what map where people could report, and then there was like a list of maps where you could see what map has which mod currently. But now that we have an Atlas in game where we can look at all the maps, it would be so cool to have some sort of mechanic. I'm not saying bring back Tempest or Warbands, but have something that moves across the Atlas other than the Elder and Shaper influence that brings additional stuff to the maps.
The thing that would be important for me is that if a mechanic like that existed, I would not want it to be the same for everyone. Just because my, let's say, Legion army fighting thing or whatever you want it to be is on alleyways right now, doesn't mean that yours is. That should be, like Elder and Shaper are right now. They're on my Atlas. My Elder and Shaper aren't the same as someone else's. They're not going to spawn in the same place. Like, I want them to be different. I think it would be very cool. And I also kind of think it would be cool if it didn't tick over like the rest of the Atlas does, where it only ticks over on completion. I'd rather that it went on some sort of actual time. Like, perhaps to move from one side of the Atlas to the other takes half an hour or something. And if you launch a map when it's in that spot, then you've got that fight on it. Maybe even if you run a map that's in that storm, then maybe it moves just a little bit quicker for just a minute or whatever, or whatever. Like, specific balance is not important. Just the idea that it doesn't act exactly like everything else we already have, right? Like, different things make me excited. I want a different thing, and that I wish I could remember exactly who said it, who gave me that like storm idea, who came up with that.
Sounds
I
good.
can't remember, but it
sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I was watching someone when they did it, but in chat saying it might have been Zizaran's idea.
I know that Zizaran was a big fan of Tempest, so that would fit.
Yeah, it might have been. I really don't remember. It was quite a while ago, but it was a fantastic idea, and it stayed with me. So, I would love to see something like that. It would be very good, and it'd be a good way to remove some of the bloat from all of the 10% chance to proxim map things. They could, some of those could get pulled out and put onto the new like Atlas Storm system or whatever the hell you wanted to call it.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. You guys, Soma, do you have any speculations what they're going to do for endgame systems? Because we already know that 3.9 is going to be like an expansion, a big expansion, something like War for the Atlas, where we got all the Elder Shaper influence battle on the war on the Atlas of Worlds and new endgame bosses. And seeing that there was a little bit of a lack of an endgame in Legion and even more so in Blight, we definitely can be sure that we're getting endgame stuff, right?
Like, I want to see like their take on their retake on Synthesis. Like, I really want to see that because I loved it. I loved what it offered. Also, like, there's one thing where like I kind of want just them to surprise me, right? Like, for example, before War for the Atlas, I would never have guessed that this could be a thing, right? The Atlas was so new when it came out. So we know they have the juice to potentially have like a new system like this, like out of nowhere, and it's just like, boom, revolution in the RPG world. So yeah, I'm not expecting it because this is like, this is a huge task to like redo the endgame entirety. But I'm sure they can come up with something like really, really nice that will make the game like new and fresh again. But yeah, I really mostly want to see like their take on Synthesis because that's like a huge part for the endgame that has been found, and they have the tech. Now they just need to like incorporate it in the core game in a smooth manner. So there's not like that much looting required, and like outcomes are more visible for everyone, and not as gambly maybe, but still for like the rarest and more powerful synthesized implicits. But yeah, overall, like I just really want to see like a smooth integration of it.
That's fair.
But
3.9. Yeah.
Say it. Have you thought about what we could get in terms of endgame systems? Or?
I mean, I've been thinking about something that includes Shaper and Elder, that they maybe add another endgame boss that helps either Shaper or either Elder, and in a way that makes it fights, and you get a new fight, and you get a new lore. That's what I've been thinking about. Something that's either gonna help Shaper or is either gonna help Elder, and it's gonna make Elder stronger or Shaper stronger.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
You know,
and you can pick.
Someone is gonna betray Shaper and is gonna go, and you can choose either, or you can manipulate the enemy to go to either Shaper or help Shaper or Elder, one of both, or something like that. That's what I think about. Yeah.
So it's an enticing idea.
We do know that Elder is basically just a minion, right? Like, he's an agent of the void, whatever the void is. So whatever that is, I'm very keen to find out.
So you mean like there is another boss on top? Like,
yeah, Elder has a boss.
Oh yeah. Well, then there you
know
go.
Anything. We don't know anything about who sent Elder or why.
Big Daddy's gonna come out, dude.
We do know that Elder is just a person or a thing or entity, whatever the hell, that was sent by a greater thing that could order him to go and do stuff. Like he's
just the janitor.
Yeah,
like doesn't he look a little bit like? I mean, this is random. Don't you guys think a little bit about Blight when you think about Elder? Maybe it's something about Blight. Maybe the biggest Blight boss is, I don't know, Father of Elder. I don't know. So no. I don't know, dude. Like,
that might just be your
tentacle mushroom.
Tentacles. Yeah, exactly. I think about tentacles. I don't know why.
That might just be you.
Me? No. Oh.
But the other big thing that we know that we haven't chased down, which by the way, I'm just gonna call. I think is going to be in 3.9, but I'm probably going to be wrong. I'm going to say it's going to be one of the leagues before 4.0. There's a part 2 to Harbinger we already know exists that we never got to see. It's been a while, and I reckon that's going to happen before 4.0. I reckon that's one of the coming leagues. Well, we don't know. We just know that they're not done with the Harbinger story. That's what they said. They said we're not done with Harbinger.
Any hot take on like what the Harbinger, who those people are?
Who? No, but I think I know how we're going to find out.
Gonna go through the portal.
That's exactly it. We're going to go through the portal to invade their area rather than them invading our area. That's what I think is going to happen, and I think that'll be in one of the leagues before 4.0 comes out.
Better get auto sort for all the shards.
And then we can run beachheads 24/7. Oh boy, not that again.
Poor Somayd. To bring back some memories.
I mean, for Steel Mage, it was a huge success. Just took like a week, right?
Oh, that's an idea.
What?
Chat's got an idea.
Chat's speculating.
What if we went through the portal to the Harbinger's realm, and in the Harbinger's realm there was another Atlas that had higher tiers and more difficult content in it?
Yes, I want that.
Yeah, that was one of my big speculations for 4.0, because historically, like, that's something that I've been observing with Path of Exile, and I don't know to what extent, like, it's there to... Okay, so you always have, like, big, scary endgame bosses, and they always become more approachable every league because of power creep. Obviously, also because the player base gets better at solving the problems that POE throws at them, but also because every league we get more power. Ascendancy reworks, new items, new skills, new support gems. And for a while, I've been thinking that one big strategy of GGG is to convince the player that they're actually getting better at PoE by just making them achieve more on each consecutive league without the player actually getting better. Just because the player gets more power, you get the illusion of, hey, I actually got better at the game because I reached further than last league, right? So... but along those lines, like, for example, when I started playing, Uber Ziri was like by far the hardest boss in the game. Probably still is. harder than Uber Elder, but we got new hard stuff, and like everything that was at the top end at that point in time, other than Uber Ziri maybe, like got squished down a little bit, and we got a new top end added on top of it. So what I'm hoping to see in 4.0 is that Uber Elder is maybe not the absolute end boss of the game anymore, but it's more something that people are more realistically expected to beat during the league, and then that there's something that goes beyond Uber Elder. Whether that
would definitely be the case.
Yeah,
like that's 100%.
Control click Atlas.
I talked to other POE streamers and they said no, never.
No, of course it will. We've got so many more endgame bosses.
Yeah,
you know the biggest boss we're not going to see for the next many years. I don't know how many, but I don't know how they're going to ever beat him. But Caloundra is the big dick one we never hear about. That's years away, probably still.
That's true.
Why would you think that Caloundra is even something that is an enemy?
Well, why is it an enemy? Everything wants to kill us. This is Rayclast. That's I just assume it's an enemy. Why I think it's the big boss is twofold. One, Mirror of Caloundra is the drop mirror of Caloundra is merely a shard of the actual mirror that Caloundra had or made. I don't really know. Whatever.
Maybe she
but
just
there's
has
a lot of
factory.
power in that. So our mirrors are merely a shard of that. And also POE's logo since beta is a mirror of Caloundra. Like, look at the logo. It's a mirror.
Where?
True.
Look at the logo.
Yeah. True.
It's a mirror. That's the big dick boss. We're probably years away from seeing
that implies that it's a boss or that it's an enemy thing. Like, I mean, we get to fight Vol, but it's like a corrupted version of Vol, and it's not like the original Vol. We get to fight a statue of Marcius Lioneye, but Lioneye is not really right. Oh wait, we do have Lioneye in Legion. Okay, never mind.
No, I don't know how many years it will be before I'm proven right, but we will fight Mirror. We will fight Caloundra.
Hopefully, it won't be as much of a letdown as learning to know who Sharon is.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember before the 4.0, before the fourth act was added, like, people were speculating like mad. Oh, we're gonna get to fight Sharon. Oh, she's the person behind Shav's wrappings. She must be like an incredibly powerful caster, like shit tons of ES and yeah. Look at what we got now.
I mean, maybe we'll get like an event, like a second Cataclysm, where they're like trying to redo the beast and all this, and like we get to actually fight those bosses. Like each boss has a huge storyline and a dungeon, and you can do like special loot. It would be nuts. But like, like redoing the story like all over for 4.0 was like a new, like, I don't know, trying to reestablish the old ways. I don't know enough about the lore.
I can see in the future that you just control click while you have the Atlas opening, and you have like another Atlas that opens for you.
That would be nice.
That's something I can see. Having two Atlas.
I'd also like to go off on another tangent. I'd also like it if in 4.0 or maybe already in 3.9, but in general in some future expansion, if they massively added content to previously content that has gone core, as in give us, I mean, they already given us in Incursion a lot of new Val side areas and side bosses, right? I think. Or that was already, no, that was not in Incursion.
Not that we ever noticed, because for some reason Val side areas don't exist in maps.
I think that was explicitly talked about in a Reddit post where they said it's just by design. They would have to go and add tiles to every map, which this Val side area could spawn in. So it's probably never gonna happen. But what I was talking about is like, I want new liches, dude. I don't want just two liches that I can encounter in Abysses. Give us a third or a fourth lich. Give us new Delph bosses maybe, Also, like just add more stuff to those old leagues, just like they've been adding prophecies. I don't know how they cannot see that prophecy is so much better than when it was implemented, just because they added so many prophecies that interact also with other systems in the game and that give you access to stuff. And also prophecy works so much better now that the multi-mod craft is locked behind the prophecy chains, for example. It just gives more purpose to that entire thing. And
now it feels like it's always been part of the base game rather than something that's been added onto the base game.
Exactly.
Because it interacts with every other system.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
More cross connections, more intertwining. That would be cool, and also more content in each specific niche. Like, I don't know, give us new beasts. Why not give us a new beast? Like, give us what do we have? We have avian, cat, crab, and spider. Give us aspect of the monkey or something like that.
It's funny how we PoE players, we get new content every 3 months, and it's still not enough, you know. We always want more. We always want more. Like, we have to give GGG some slack, boys. Think about it. It's every 3 months they have to come up with new content. Like, give them some slack sometimes, you know. Like, I'm that guy, you know, that says give them some slack, you know.
You're right, and I get it. But also, that's their fault.
Sure.
They conditioned me.
I want to be.
They conditioned me to. They conditioned me to want that. It's like your teenage child you've given $1,000 to every single week for their entire last 6 years. You can't just suddenly stop and then expect them to not be upset. Like, you've conditioned me now. I'm a spoiled brat.
Yeah, we're spoilers.
I'm now a spoiled brat. You did it. It's your fault. Give me more stuff. Right? Like I'm not. I get it. You're right, but I'm not responsible for this. They provided so much good content for so long that now I'm accustomed to it, which is also the reason I can't leave for any other game, because nobody does a tenth of what you do. So now I'm stuck here, and I'm expecting good things all the time. That's it.
I mean, who other game does it? Like, none.
No.
Nope.
I mean, Fortnite does that. They constantly. Fortnite, like, constantly having updates.
Sure.
Content update? No, I don't play Fortnite, but I feel like the game is going like all over the place. There's like some meteors, and then there's like some time fragments and parachute and Thanos and everything. So I guess they kind of do it too.
Yeah, I think Fortnite does a decent job at that, at keeping the player base engaged and enraged about changes. No, that's a fair point. But like on the market,
I feel like it's more like they're adding Nemesis every few months. Like, that's the entire scope of the thing. It's not really. It's not even close. They regularly add tiny little new things and changes.
Yeah.
I mean, like dances. That's 99%.
Well, that's just MTX. That's the POE does that as well. We get a lot of MTX. Yeah, how long is it until ExileCon actually? What does the countdown timer say? Anyone have it open?
Oh yeah, are you guys going? Like, I didn't even ask.
Balor is going.
13 days.
I'm going.
Oh, Balor, you're going, dude? Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish
just
you
around the
paid
corner
for my ticket.
How long are you flying there? Like, what is the flight?
I don't know. How long to fly there? Like 2.5, 3 hours or something like that?
Well, it's like nothing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Nice.
Although I also go through like a 3-hour time difference, so I leave at like midday and show up at like 6 p.m. Even though it's a 3-hour flight. But I lose the whole day.
Value, dude. Value.
So many time zones.
Although coming back is free. I think I leave at like 4:30 in the afternoon and then get home at 5 in the afternoon or something like that. Like, it's great.
What is it if it is the other way
I
around?
don't believe in time zones, dude. For me, it would be the same. Like, it's just so and so many hours travel. Like, the time of arrival doesn't really change anything for me, because the time is not going to dictate when I feel tired and want to go to bed.
You leave at 12 hours. You arrive. You go 3 hours, and then you arrive at 12 hours. What happened, dude? What happened there?
Wait, what?
if you travel for 3 hours, but you arrive at the same time you left.
So there's a 3 hour there's a 3 hour time difference. So when I go there, even though I'm in the air for 3 hours, I land and the time is 6 hours later than when I left. But when I come back, for some reason the flight back is 30 minutes longer. I'll be in the air for 3.5 hours, but the time will go back 3 hours. So even though I'm in the air for 3.5 hours, I will land half an hour after I leave.
Mental time zone gymnastics.
It's great. It's fun.
So yeah, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders. You're the only one of us four who's going there, who can deliver the first-hand information.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
But they are going to stream it, no?
Yeah, they're going to stream it, and everyone can restream it too, so it's going to be good.
I was about to say,
they gave an open ticket to restream it to anyone. Like if you can watch all of the stuff live. If you happen to be a streamer that's not going, you can watch the entire thing live.
While
and
streaming.
Have you over the top of it while streaming, so you can
that's
interact
cool.
with your community and your chat and all
that.
be excited together.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool that they explicitly said that, because yesterday I was unsure. Like, some people were unsure whether I was able to restream the opening ceremony of BlizzCon, which, I was sure that I'd be able to, but I really would have liked some sort of clarification officially from Blizzard, which I couldn't find by Googling. I tried hard, and there was not really any official statement, even though it was kind of obvious that the public stuff is free to be restreamed, because other big streamers restreamed it last year and didn't get problems. So, yeah. Other big streamers. Other streamers who are actually big. What are you going to do, Somayd?
I'm going to do this with QDog. We'll get into a call and have some sort of podcast with ExileCon in the background, and have just fun hot takes and KWs. Should be pretty fun. I mean, New Zealand is really far away. When you're in Europe.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I was actually.
I'm gonna heavily encourage people to do that sort of thing, like having little, just random little mini podcasts. If you're not coming, find one or two other people you really like. Make one thing together where you sit down and all get excited together. That's excellent content.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Especially if you find people that you share an audience with too, that you like, right? Like we've got all those stats. You know who's commonly coming from other channels and whatnot. That would be excellent content. People who making it so that you get as many crossover people as possible. People who watch you and someone else. That'd be great.
Where do you find this? Actually, I have no idea. I never really checked my dashboard. So
it's on your dashboard.
Yeah, stream summary or channel.
Yeah.
Channel
under the analytics section in the dashboard.
Oh, Steelmage, QDog, MB Extreme, Brittany, and Crouching Tuna.
There you go.
All right, huge podcast.
And you were already saying cute dog, so that's clearly a good choice for you, both personally and business wise, right? You share a decent audience and you enjoy being there. That's fantastic. That's exactly what you're after.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. All right. Is there anything anyone still wants to say before we round things up and wish everyone a nice weekend? Is there important points that you felt were left untouched?
I mean, we didn't talk about Martyr, but that's personal. So let's leave it at that. So.
I got two things. One, Martyr is my favorite ghost because it slows down the speedy boys and kills them.
It's the only impactful one.
It's so unfair, boys. It's so unfair. And they had a sound
because it kills the speedy boys.
Wait a second. I got so triggered when I read the patch notes and they said, we added a sound for when you get corrupting blood on you, but they did not touch Martyr. Yeah, nice one, dude. I got really triggered.
I feel like I have to make a point, especially now that there are people who are still here at the end. I have to make a point that if you have decided you're a little bit bored of Blight and you're done and you're looking for other games and you haven't played one yet, do try Lost Ark. If you have not played it, it is so far been the very best feeling combat I have ever felt in any game I have ever played. It is the netcode and predictive rather mode or whatever they've got there is the smoothest I have ever used. I'm playing from Australia in a Russian server using a VPN at 250 to 300 milliseconds, which sounds unplayable as a ping. And it feels like I'm playing on 90 to 100. It's smooth as anything.
It honestly sounds absolutely a lot better than what I would expect from Australia playing on a Russian server. I would expect 800 or 900.
Yeah, the VPN is 100% allowed. They already allowed it. Not only did they allow it, but there's a VPN built into the client in case you need to use that. However, it's overloaded to fuck and not accepting new connections because way too many people are using it. So you'll probably end up having a secondary one because they overloaded their own. If you're after it to self-promote slightly, !Lost Ark in my chat will give you a video that will tell you how to get it installed, and !VPN will link you to the VPN that I suggest that's also very cheap. The game is free, although if you can't use the built-in VPN and you need to buy one, it will. The VPN I'm suggesting costs about $5 a month, and you can tick a box that says don't recharge me, so it's just a one-off payment that you do one time, and then it'll never recharge you because by the time a month is up, you'll be ready to come back to PoE anyway. But it is fantastic. It is absolutely worth trying. It is the smoothest, greatest combat I have ever felt in any game. You will enjoy it. And I really wish I was getting paid to promote this, but I am not. So that is just me being very excited about it and really, really, really enjoying it. So
we can hear it. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I would talk to the developers, dude. You're doing a good sellout here. Like, I would talk to them.
Yeah, it's working. I'm actually gonna try it
out. So maybe there's someone in chat that has some questions that we could answer or something. Maybe, I don't know. Before anything.
Please talk about PoE on PS4, Ibadda.
On PS4? What you mean?
Why? You can't play PoE on PS4. Why would we talk about it?
Oh yeah.
No, it's like we're not able to touch on that topic because none of us has any experience with the PS4.
I think technically I own a PS4.
No one has experience.
It's been gathering dust in my cupboard for like 2 or 3 years, but I technically own one.
Why don't you sell it?
What's it worth?
I don't know. Never look to buy or sell one.
A couple wins in
exactly. I still use the controllers sometimes when I want to play like side-scroller games on Steam or something. Looking for like a down game for a day, and I play like Oni in the Blind Forest or something, and you just play on a controller to give your hands a break. It's great. I use the controllers way more than I use the PS4.
Like I can imagine PS4, the meta in PS4 being totems, spell totems. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Or Cyclone still.
Cyclone, of course.
Cyclone would feel amazing on a console.
Yeah, of course. Cyclone is still pretty good, actually. I thought it would be worse than this, like just the AoE nerf, but I put together a Cyclone build like a couple days back. Still pretty good.
Yep.
I like it.
I played Winter Orb. It was still pretty good too.
Wait, you played Winter Orb this league?
Yeah. I made a Winter Orb Assassin. It's clearing tier 16s at run speed as fast as I can run with like phasing and turbo movement speed things and onslaught and 7 frenzy charges and as fast as I can. And it still just clears the whole map. Kills the boss in a tier 16 in like 2 seconds. It's fine.
I mean, Winter Orb
There's nothing wrong with it.
Winter Orb was still the rank 1 after the nerf in softcore. The guy that got rank 1 was a Winter Orb. After
it's still good.
It's
not as broken OP as it was. It's just now a good skill, not an OP skill, but it still feels great. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
But it's also mostly a Herald of Ice build, right?
Nah, not really.
About. No, Winter Orb does most damage. No.
Someone has a question for you, Balor.
On what budget? 3.5x? most of that in the 6 link. I pay 2.5 for the 6 link, and then like an X, maybe an X and a half total for the rest of the year.
Question for BalorMage: how much time did you spend in the Timeless Conflict last league, and % of time played?
I mean, me and Balor&Cat made a support and Cyclone character with the Headhunter on and 3 inspired learnings, so a lot. I don't know, maybe 12-15% of my total playtime-ish. So...
And another question we could quickly address, how you guys feel about the league mechanic being in every zone as opposed to rarer but more impactful. I feel like you burn out slower. It might allow for new league design ideas. I think it's a bad idea because the league should feel really present, even for the casual player who may just, quit before he ever encounters the league mechanic. But I do think that Blight was sort of half-assed. Like when it was sold to us in the beginning as a tower defense league, I was really disappointed with how the average encounter is done in like 20-30 seconds. And I really feel like it would have been nicer if those were even longer. Like you said, kind of doubled down, more rewarding, and just, slow people down even more, but reward them for their time spent.
And I believe it's not a tower defense league. That's all. If it wasn't marketed as a tower defense league, people might have enjoyed it more. I've never played tower defense games, and I loved it. And the people who loved tower defense games and were excited for tower defense played this, realized it wasn't, and then hated it. And the people who hated tower defense gave up on it right away because they were marketed as a tower defense game, so they hated it. So the only people who were left with an unbiased opinion going in were people who had never played tower defense games like me. And I really liked it, so I don't know. Maybe that was just a poor marketing choice. It's not really a tower defense game. It just isn't.
It's not. I mean,
yeah.
No. It's like a meme, but... I mean, it is kinda, but it is not,
Well, it's not because there's no waves.
We are playing... there are waves. There are waves.
Yeah,
we are there are, towers.
But they don't feel like it. They don't... I had... Alright, so I had this idea 2 weeks into the league or something. My idea was I would have liked to have seen something along the lines of the Blighted map being... I would like to get 40% of my mobs in the first 50% of the time, then 10% of the time left with no mobs coming out, where I get to build a buttload of towers, and then have 40% of the time left at the end, where I get the remaining 60% of the mobs. So there's some waves, all the portals spawn, then some downtime, where I get to build all the towers where I want them, then a massive onslaught.
That's a good one.
So it would feel more like a tower support.
Because I actually died building towers.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you could have just taken away the entire 20-second start period and just put it somewhere in the middle. Or instead of the speed up button, give us a break button where you can actually, in the middle of the Blight, say, okay, now don't spawn for 10 seconds so I can actually build some towers.
We didn't talk about misclicking towers at all. That's a big thing.
That's because I never do it.
I don't do it this much, but
there's the building buttons that look like you can click them, but then actually they don't work, and then you click them, and instead of clicking the button, you click the terrain below the button, and then your character tries to walk there and gets meleeed by the Blight monsters and dies.
Almost rips and dies. Yeah, that's annoying.
All right. Before we end, I'll share my tinfoil hat theory.
Oh yeah, you said that tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah,
you were already hyping
I have a tinfoil hat theory about this league. I think that knowing full well that WoW Classic and Borderlands, was it 3 or whatever? 2? I don't know, whatever it was, the new one, were coming out. I think knowing that, they knew that no matter how good it was going to be a relatively low league. And I believe that they decided to put this exact mechanic in because it was going to fuck performance, because they knew it was going to cause server problems, they knew it was going to cause client problems, and they wanted a really, really, really good representation of data of their upper limits and where all of the problems could come from, because I think they want to improve them between now and 4.0. They want to know what to hit, what's the most important, and what they can't fix so they know where their upper limits are. So I think this entire league, we have just been guinea pigs for server stability. It was literally a stress test.
Did we win? Did we pass a test though?
We did, because we're still playing. We didn't rage quit, but did they pass the test?
Well, there's no way to fail. I think they just wanted to know where all the upper limits were.
Yeah,
they wanted a really good representation. Yeah, a really good representation of how far they could push and what were all of their weak points.
They could have had the Beyond map mod. That would have been like the ultimate test, but they refrain from doing so.
Yeah, that actually puts a hole into your entire theory. They didn't give us Beyond for the ultimate.
Maybe it was too much. Maybe they knew it was too much, right?
Yeah, but we already have problem with Beyond and Double Beyond, right?
Yeah.
So they've already got a good amount of data on how Beyond behaves. Every time you put Beyond on, everyone wants to do their Double Beyond maps, and we already know that's a problem. These were things they never done before. This was more mobs on the screen than you've ever had, more mobs loaded than you've ever had, mobs doing things and being present and alive 4 or 5 screens away when they were never loaded in the past.
I do remember there was some sort of Q&A or some point where, like, after the initial release, before we got some patches, where they said that they're going to try and reduce the amount of monsters that spawns, but they try to reduce it by as little as possible, because they said that it was crucial to the experience of Blight that it feels like it's spawning a lot of monsters in your face. And I think that one point, that's something that pops up in my head when you say that was just a benchmark, because them insisting on a whole lot of monsters spawning makes it sound like they actually had that agenda all along. It's like, we want to spawn as much shit as possible to actually crash our service and crash our clients.
I think that's my tinfoil hat theory. I think this whole thing was an intentional stress test. I don't think they intentionally tried to make the league shit, but I think they knew we were going to have problems coming in, and they decided that from a business/marketing perspective that it was worth it to write off this league and accept the backlash that they were going to get for all of the information that they've now got to work on between now and 4.0.
It does make sense. It does make a lot of sense.
I can agree that somewhat it's a fail league. Somewhat. Yeah. It's a good fail league because we get the anointment, and that's really important for the future. So,
I mean, what matters to them is like the amount of like the retention, right? So I guess like our personal feeling about the league is not a metric that they will consider. The only thing they will consider is like retention and like a bunch of different factors. So, and money they made, right? I guess it's all about the money.
And like I said, like it's my tinfoil hat theory. Like, I know there are ways to poke holes in it, and I know there are going to be people that don't agree with it, but that is my tinfoil hat, like right on my head tinfoil hat theory. That's I'm very confident about it though. Like I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I did think that it was strategically placed into this time slot because it was a questionable league, an experimental league, where they knew that a lot of the core audience would possibly not like it. But I hadn't thought about the stress test at all. I hadn't thought of it as that. I thought that, yeah, they know that the big expansion is going to be the Christmas expansion. They're going to focus on that. And they did say that after Synthesis, people were like demanding leagues with the smaller scope. People were like, hey, you were trying to do too much in Synthesis and it failed. And then we got Legion after Synthesis, and then we got this after that. I think the next league is going to be, I mean, Chris literally went on Reddit and said it's a medium-sized league. So it's not a small league like Blight. Blight was, I think, marketed as like something small, like something that is not super big. And medium-sized sounds like, hey, it's actually going to be, you know, the Betrayal sort of size.
Today he likened it to War of the Atlas. So,
yeah, that's true.
Like on Reddit, he said today, and I wish I had the exact thing up so I could get the quote right. I'm sure someone in chat will have it open, but it was something along the lines of 3.9 will be a large update with a medium-sized league attached to, an expansion with a medium-sized league attached to it, like War of the Atlas contained Abyss. So that's the scope we're looking at now. It is 3.9 is an expansion with a medium-sized league in it, like how War of the Atlas contained Abyss.
Although
4.0 is a very big deal.
I'd expect a bigger league
coming
than
out soon.
Abyss.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be happy if it's an Abyss-sized league, but there's a, War of the Atlas-sized update to go with it. That's fine by me. Like, War for the Atlas seems like nothing now because we've had it forever, but fuck, it was huge at the time.
It's so easy to take updates and expansions and stuff for granted and to forget how things were before. I already forget how shit master missions were before this patch.
I don't. They were fucking horrible.
Yeah, master missions are just so good. Yeah. One of the best changes by far.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It gives back some agency. It's always welcome.
Also, it took
More
away
control.
bloat. It took away bloat from my map, which is something that people aren't attributing as much to. When I don't want to run masters, I don't actually see them very often in maps anymore, which was starting to get a bit excessive for me. There was always something to do outside of maps when I just wanted to map.
But
I was forced to go delving. I was forced to do my temple, right? And I'm not really forced to do that anymore. And I think that has more of an impact, but it slides under the radar. Is those just bank up now? I'm not really forced to do them. I don't encounter very many masters in the wild anymore. I'm not forced to do this content. And now I find myself doing more of it than I used to do, because now I can just be in the mood to run temples. Oh, I've got these 3 things I want to corrupt. Now I'm just going to run temples all day.
What you just said, Balor, I think that's inevitable. Like, I think in 1 or 2 years, we're gonna have so much to do in one map. We're literally gonna map for one map 15 minutes. We have to do 4 missions. We have to go in here. That's something like that. I had the feeling this league as well. Like, if you do a Zana mission on tier 16, you have to do the Blight. You have to do another Blight. Maybe you have to do another Zana mission. Like, you're 10 minutes or 50 minutes in one map.
Maybe inside your Zana mission, there's an Abyss crack.
Yeah, you go in there.
And then once you come out of there, and you finish the Blight, and then you realize that there's temples in there, and you got to run 3 of those. And then... We've all done that. I'm just going to do one more map before I go to bed, and then you end up down the rabbit hole, and 25 minutes later, you're finished with the map.
Something like that, yeah. That's POE in 2-3 years, man. It's gonna be 30 minutes, one map. Who needs maps? You just need one.
I agree that it's great that we're not forced to do like a temple, because it doesn't automatically get finished anymore, because you encounter masters so rarely in the map that realistically never happens. But I do kind of miss the occasional betrayal encounter in maps that puts you out of your comfort zone and that makes you consider to abandon the map because you actually might lose your character to intervention. That sort of was what a large portion of the appeal for betrayal was, that for me, that it made the game scary and made they could spawn at any moment. But I do recognize that a lot of people had problems with performance with betrayal, and a lot of people didn't like that forced sort of stuff. So I think it's good that, at least for now, it's not occurring at a very frequent rate anymore. But yeah, the real question is there anyone streaming after this?
That's a good one.
No, sir.
No,
I mean,
like 2 a.m.
I mean, Orf is there. There's a lot of Orf. I want to do Orf.
You want to stream Orf?
Oh, no, that's something I told myself. Like, I'm never gonna stream. Okay, now I say never, but I don't want to stream ever League of Legends. Fuck that, man. No. That's something I told myself I'm not gonna do.
I feel you can stream any game if you're just having fun and if just being real about it, and I don't know.
It's just
entertaining viewers.
Yeah.
Try out Lost Ark.
Oh, really? Los, what is that, dude? Wait, what is that, man? I never heard of it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's an MMORPG. It's great.
Oh, holy shit! Is it free?
It is free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
For PC? Yeah, for PC, right? Nice.
Wait, so Somayd, you can't stream yet because of data cap still?
Yeah, I can't.
Oh wait, so we're eating up your data cap with the video upstream?
No. I've got like so I only use my 4G for streaming. So every time I get a box, I get a normal ADSL box that I unplug just when I stream, and then I go back to. Yeah, with the amount of anime that I watch, there's no way I could watch this on 4G. It's impossible, and porn as well. So I gotta do on ADSL. But no, I'm not. So like this is unlimited right now.
Damn. Well, so no one is gonna take the host after we finish this up.
I'm sure you can find like a Warzy streamer.
Yeah, I heard Tuna
like
is live.
A brave person that keeps going.
1080p hentai. Well, I want to, before we do anything else, I want to thank you both for coming on. Thanks, Somayd. Thanks, Ibadda, for giving us your time and discussing these highly interesting speculations.
Yeah, thanks for having me, CATMASTER. Feel honored, dude. Feel honored.
It was good.
Yeah, it was
Chat
good,
was good too.
Yeah. Chat, exactly. Shoutouts to chat, guys. Give yourself an easy clap because
hyper clap.
Very hard, very hard one.
Hyper clap, boys.
A gachi base hyper clap. I don't think I have hyper clap here. I just have to do gachi base clap. But yeah, good.
Yeah, shout out to Tryhard from France. He's a great guy.
And we do a little bit of a change. I think this episode is going to be uploaded on Balor's YouTube in full, and I'm going to try and do like a little bit of a best of compilation for my channel. And the next Faded Connections will be announced somewhere during ExileCon, I think, when Balor gives me the exact data on when he's back and ready to do. Actually, we already said that it was the weekend after ExileCon, right? We already had a date. You're muted, I think.
I think we were doing like 23rd, 24th. That weekend.
Okay, so Saturday 23rd. Yeah. That's loosely locked in as the date for the next podcast.
I'm gonna see if I can flirt with some people at ExileCon and get them to come on.
Bex incoming.
So we've got. I don't think she'll be there.
You don't think she'll come to ExileCon?
No, she's still on maternity leave.
I can't imagine that.
It's pretty sad, but she's pretty much confirmed she's not gone.
Damn.
Yeah, it's very sad, but.
I'm sure you'll find people who are almost as interesting as Bex to have on the podcast, though.
But yeah, I have to say I really appreciate it today because you don't get the chance to talk to, player streamers that play the game actually as much as you do. In real life, I have friends. They never play POE. They always play something else. So it's always nice to actually have competent people to talk about POE for once in a while. It was really nice.
Yeah, I agree. It was nice to for once speak with competent people instead of speaking
if you
to
guys
myself.
know what I mean, if you guys know what I mean by competent, you guys know what I mean.
But yeah, okay. Well, then we're gonna end it here. Thanks everyone for watching. Like and subscribe because Balor's YouTube deserves the growth. And
Subscribe.